where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Today we are at Bridgestone Arena, where the Nashville Predators take on the Edmonton Oilers tonight at 7 o'clock. Pre-games at 6. Barry Trotz right here at Bridgestone Arena at 5 o'clock for his weekly visit. We got some talking we got to do with Barry. Ian is here today. Hello, Ian.
What up, what up?
Okay, so yesterday I was all over the Titans for their incompetence, and that will probably be at some point a recurring theme throughout the show today. But that was kind of, yesterday was Daddy had to take the belt off and spank the Titans kind of day, and they needed it. And it will, again, somewhat continue. But today is a narrative and a theme that I've just heard far too often that I think underscores the real issues with the Tennessee Titans. That if people cannot get over this, since they're convinced that, it's got to be one way, that way, the other, that there's just no nuance to this or anything like that. I feel the need for us to get into this, which is, do the Titans have a Ryan Tannehill problem? And I'm going to tell you the answer is no. Ryan Tannehill is not the problem with the Tennessee Titans. And yet, I can't tell you how many times I've heard over the last 2 days, whether it was doing the post-game show after the game was over and every time to move on from Tannehill. Tannehill's no good. He's so bad. Or whether it was yesterday with your texts or this morning on Robbie and Joe, or it's just everybody wants to move on from Tannehill. Everybody wants to be done with Tannehill. They want to wake up one day and see somebody else under center. Here's the problem, though, with that philosophy. Whoever you put under center, and I don't care if you put Patrick Mahomes under center, and we'll get to him in a second. Anyone you put under center will struggle with this offensive line. The Titans took risks on the offensive line. They're not the only team in the league that did that in the offseason. The Kansas City Chiefs took a massive risk by giving Jawan Taylor all that money to move from right tackle to left tackle, and then they realized he's probably not going to be a left tackle, so they signed Donovan Smith, who was a previous starter with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they moved Jawan Taylor back to right tackle, and Jawan Taylor has still had his problems this season. But the Titans took a lot of risks on the offensive line, and they pretty much all failed. We'll take San Francisco's backup and put him at right guard. Not very good. We'll take our 270-pound left guard, who, again, James Lofton last year said he's too short to play in the NFL. He's too small to play in the NFL. He's too short. He's too small for Texas State. And they decided to give him $4.3 million. And, of course, they signed Andre Dillard, a bust of a first-round pick who could not start in Philadelphia, and they gave him $7.5 million this year and $3 million next year, and he sucks. That's the problem with the Tennessee Titans. Is Ryan Tannehill the best quarterback in the NFL? Absolutely not. And I've been on record as saying you cannot win a Super Bowl with Ryan Tannehill as the quarterback. If you gave Ryan Tannehill, the San Francisco 49ers, with Trent Williams at left tackle, with Brandon Ayuk, with Deebo Samuel, with Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle, and that great defense and that wonderful coach, I still think somewhere along the way, Tannehill would get matched up in a game against a good quarterback, and he would not be able to throw his team back into the game. Now, look, Ryan Tannehill's not the only quarterback in the NFL that I feel that way about. Dak Prescott last night. I don't think, even with a great team around Dak Prescott, I don't think you can win the Super Bowl with Dak Prescott. But the point I'm trying to bring up is for everybody that thinks that, Tannehill, you're totally missing the cause of the problem. every time. And all people want to do, and I get it, he's the quarterback, and the quarterback touches the ball on every play, and the quarterback makes the most amount of money, and the quarterback is kind of the representative of the team. But Ryan Tannehill, I watch the Titans probably a little bit closer than Michael Irvin does, and so I would probably know at least a little bit more about the Titans than I would assume the playmaker does, though I do love the playmaker. But I'm watching the Titans in the first half against the Ravens, and they put themselves in a 3rd and 8, and the Titans have to call a screen pass because you know you can't drop back on 3rd down and 8. And on 3rd down and 8, Chris Moore would have picked up the first down if Andre Dillard had just made a block. But he didn't. Then the second drive, the Titans get the football, and it's 3rd down and 5, only because PT jumped off lined up illegally. So now Tannehill's at 3rd down and 5. Here comes the pressure from Clowney, and Kyle Van Noy hits the ball in the air. That's not Tannehill's fault, but you can't even block Clowney. And Clowney sucks, and you know that from 3 years ago. Then the Titans end up trying to throw the ball on 3rd down and 3 for Kyle Phillips. Tannehill was hit by Matabikwe, so he got hit on that play. Then the last drive, 3rd down and 9 at the Tennessee 46, and Tannehill gets sacked for 9 yards. And as I have in my note, no block by 60, which is Brunskill, and 32, which is Tajay Spears. The only time the Titans can pass the football is when they run a play-action pass and they leave 7 guys in to block. Why? Because the 5 guys they have cannot block 4 rushers. That's why against the Colts, when you ran the 2-minute drill, you got sacked. Because when you're running the 2-minute drill, 5 guys have to go out, which means 5 guys protect against their 4 rushers. So you've got 5 versus 7 on the back end, and there's still nothing you can do about it because Tannehill's going to get sacked. And then when Malik had to run the 2-minute, he got sacked even more than Tannehill. You can't block. You've got the best running back in the NFL for the last half decade, and you average 70 yards a game. And yet, again, the Titans on their drives, 3rd down and 8, run a screen pass because we can't line up in the shotgun and throw it, and you would have converted it if your left tackle made a block, but he sucked, so he didn't. 3rd down and 9, Tannehill gets sacked, and Michael Irvin at halftime on NFL Network, who we blaming?
Titans. I like what I see right now with them trying to get the ball to DeAndre Hopkins. Got a couple pass interference, because Humphries was on him. Got a couple pass interference. Ryan Tannehill is not very accurate, but you still can't run the ball. You got to put it up in the air.
He's not very accurate. You know what the problem is, guys? Ryan Tannehill is not very accurate. Gee, I wonder why that is. Now, is Tannehill the most accurate passer in the NFL? No, he's not Drew Brees. But I've seen Ryan Tannehill throw the ball plenty to know that he can do it. I saw the Ryan Tannehill throw the ball plenty on Sunday to know that he can be able to do it. I saw him hit the ball to Wiley, in which was a pretty good throw, and Wiley ended up getting concussed. I saw him throw the ball to Nick Westbrook-Akine, and it hit him in the hands, and it would have been a touchdown. And I saw him hit the ball to Hopkins a couple of times. Now, I'm not going to defend Tannehill on the interception because while Tannehill said after the game he couldn't put anything on that ankle, and so that's why he underthrew the ball and it got picked. If you know you can't step into a throw like that, you can't take a shot 25 yards down the field, and Tannehill should know that. So that one's on Tannehill. But Tannehill's only hurt because your line can't block. So for all you people out there that want to get rid of Tannehill, and I have been a long, vocal admitter of the fact that you can't win a Super Bowl with Tannehill and that he probably does choke some in like the big playoff moments. Your problems right now are not the quarterback. Your problems are not the running back. So stop bitching about them because that's not the issue here. The issue is your line. And the issue is how you constructed your line. And the issue is how you're coaching your line. And the issue is what are your limitations because of your line. And I'm sure the receivers probably play a little bit of a role in that. You know, if A.J. Brown's out there and Tannehill can just throw it in A.J. Brown's vicinity, does that change things? Probably a little bit. If you have Tyreek Hill or some blazer like Chris Olave that can just run by a DB and you can just throw it and so you've got less. But, I mean, Tannehill's getting sacked on 3-step drops. That's awful. That's embarrassing. And then I watch the tape from behind the play and I look at the Ravens offensive line and I look at how they chip and I look at what they do. Right now, Dennis Daly would be an upgrade for you at left tackle. And you guys think that moving on from the quarterback's going to change anything? You guys think putting a rookie in there who's never played in the NFL, you think that's going to fix things? So, again, I'm fine. I'm fine with changing off of Tannehill at the end of the year or trying to find a quarterback who's better than Tannehill, or I'm fine with all that. But if you think that's going to change anything in the short term, you do not understand football. You get too caught into the vanity. You get too caught into SportsCenter. You get too caught into the highlights. Too caught into, the fantasy stats, receivers and running backs and quarterbacks. And wow, look at the bottom of the screen. It says he threw for 437 yards. But football has always been about the fat boys. They have always played a role, even if they don't get the glory. They have always played a role in this game. And I haven't watched everybody else's team. So I can't tell you that the Titans have the worst offensive line in the NFL, but I can't imagine that anybody else has something worse than you do. I really can't. So before you get mad about Tannehill, before you whine and bitch and text in about, oh, Tannehill stinks, oh, Jared, he's awful, oh, God. Before you do that, just know, nobody would have success behind this offensive line. Mahomes would not have success behind this offensive line. Brady would not have success behind this offensive line. It's an offensive line problem. And unlike what Mike Vrabel said, it's not a new problem. It's a problem that they had last year too. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We will get to your phones today, 615-737-1025. Plus, I don't know if anybody else is making a big deal about this, but it's a big deal to me about how Vrabel kind of lied to Caroline yesterday when talking about how, oh, no, the offensive line's not that bad. We just can't pass protect. Other than that, the offensive line's great. We ran it all over the Ravens, ignoring the fact that you have Derrick Henry, and that's why you're able to run the ball. But I do want to point out really what Caroline was asking and what Vrabel ignored and why it needs to be discussed. We'll do that next. And, of course, we'll get to your phones as we always do. 615-737-1025 is our phone number here on Stillman & Company. Again, we're live at Bridgestone Arena today. Barry Trotz at 5 o'clock. Make your silly underdog picks for your chance to win weekly prizes. You can play at thegamenashville.com or the 1025 The Game app. Silly underdog picks presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The official brand perception report for doors and windows is in. Pella Windows and Doors are the leading brand among all others. A few reasons why. Pella is regarded as the highest quality, the most innovative, and the installers with Pella of Nashville lead the way for attention to detail. That's why Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville is one of Pella's top locations in the country. For new doors or windows, I suggest you choose the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaNashville.com.
This year, Boys and Girls Club of Middle Tennessee celebrates its 120th anniversary. Through time, BGCMT continues to evolve to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible leaders. Because of your continued support, BGCMT has remained strong and is committed to supporting our youth and solidifying our mission and culture in new exciting ways for 120 years. Visit bgcmt.org today.
Fall is the time for family, friends, and unforgettable moments. Lee Company wants you to savor every second. While you enjoy this time with your family, our professional technicians can handle everything else, from gutter cleaning to pressure washing to painting to new gas log installations. We've been serving homeowners in this area for almost 80 years. Visit leecompany.com to learn more. That's LeeCompany.com. Lee Company, all you need.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is happening at Genesis Diamonds. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. For this event, you can choose from 5 years financing or get a free pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond earrings valued at $5,000. Imagine a luxury pre-owned ladies Rolex Datejust for just $199 a month, or a Sea Dweller or Submariner for just $299 a month. No waiting list, no games, just the watch you want at the great Genesis value price you deserve. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be offering top dollar for your Rolex, so you can buy, sell, or trade. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state. Get the timepiece of your dreams and take advantage of our special financing. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolex. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit while supplies last. See store for details.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah, and like us on Facebook, too. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The offensive line has struggled blocking all season long. It's not a new problem. We experienced that last year. Why wasn't there more done in the offseason to address that position group?
Well, I would disagree that they've struggled. They've struggled on third down, hasn't been our best. Ran the football yesterday against a team that hadn't been too many 10 and 12-yard runs on that clip. So I think we stood up to them and we blocked them. And I thought the protection against Indy, if we can stay out of a drop-back passing game, I think that's really critical. I would say that's a tall order for us and a lot of other teams. It's just when you get into a drop-back passing game. So I think that's something that we certainly want to make sure that we complement our run game and our offense with the ability to move the pocket, ability to max up. We saw a lot of those cool opportunities against Indy. Didn't have enough of them against Baltimore when we did have some of those play passes. But we'll have to be better on third down when they do run games and pressure. So that's where we're at right now.
So Floyd used to tell me that when he was in New England, Bill Belichick would coach the players, that when you're talking to the media, don't answer what they ask you. Answer what you want to tell them. So did you hear Caroline's question, and did you hear that Vrabel word salad? And did you notice that he didn't really answer the question? Ian, if we could get that one more time, just Caroline's question here. And again, he talked about how we can't get into a drop-back passing game, and I would dispute that the line stinks, and I would say that we're good. We just got to get better on third down, but go ahead and play the cut because he didn't really answer Caroline's question.
The offensive line has struggled blocking all season long. It's not a new problem. We experienced that last year. Why wasn't there more done in the offseason to address that position group?
Why wasn't there more done in the offseason to address the offensive line? He didn't want to go there. Now, here's what's fascinating, right? The Titans, and yes, they spent $12 million on the 11th overall pick in Peter Skoronski, but there's no guarantee that at 11 that they were going to be able to pick a lineman. Hell, for crying out loud, we all know that they spent all day on draft night. For whatever reason, Diana Rossini knew all about it, but they were trying to get a quarterback. They were trying to move up to 3 to take C.J. Stroud. There was no guarantee there was going to be a tackle there. Rand Carthon said after they drafted Peter Skoronski, they were surprised that he was still there. Now, is that just typical GM talk of, oh my God, this guy, he's so good, I'm shocked he's still there? But the tackles in this draft, Paris Johnson came right off the board. Darnell Wright out of Tennessee off the board. I mean, the tackles were coming off the board before the 11th overall pick. Not that the Titans are actually going to play Skoronski at tackle. But the premium offensive linemen, they were coming off the board before the 11th pick. So, yes, they did use a premium asset on Skoronski, but that's it. Outside of that, they paid $7.5 million plus $3 million next year for Andre Dillard. They gave Daniel Brunskill $2.5 million, and they gave Aaron Brewer $4.3 million, which is truly, highway robbery. Of the guys that signed at center this year in the NFL, outside of the guys that kept their own jobs, there's like one guy, the center that went from Dallas to Buffalo, who I actually think is a guard, McGovern, who ended up making more money than Aaron Brewer is. And Aaron Brewer, he freaking blows. But so that's the issue. The issue is that the Titans thought they were smarter than everybody else. The Titans thought they could do this with those guys. They thought Andre Dillard could play left tackle. See, when Andy Reid had to completely redo his offensive line after they got dominated in the Super Bowl by Tampa Bay, and Andy started to think, Eric Fisher's too old, and this guy's up there in age. And remember, he completely redid the line. What did Andy do? Andy traded a first-round pick for Orlando Brown to play left tackle. Not guard, by the way, tackle. Traded a first-round pick. He paid $18.1 million in year one, $46 million guaranteed to Joe Thuney to play left guard. Let's just go get the best guard and be done with it, Andy Reid said. They used a second-round pick on Creed Humphreys. So when Andy says, we got to redo things here, Andy actually says, let's just go get the best guys. I don't care what it is that we have to pay. First-round pick on the left tackle. Second-round pick on the center. $18 million, $46 guaranteed for the guard. But not here. Here, it's like, hey, we think Andre Dillard can play left tackle. Based on what? His great play with Philadelphia, where he sat on the bench and filled up his water cup? And that's what made you think that he could do that? So the real issue here, I do think some of it's money and the fact that the Titans are trying to do things on the cheap. But, they gave Andre Dillard real money. Only three guys, Jawan Taylor, Mike McGlinchey, and Orlando Brown, signed with the same team for more money on an AAV than Andre Dillard did at tackle. So they actually thought Andre Dillard could play left tackle. So why'd you think that? Donovan Smith, who had started in the NFL for years in Tampa Bay, is making $3 million as the left tackle of the Kansas City Chiefs. He is making half of what Andre Dillard is making. How'd you get there? And again, to the point of what Caroline said, this is nothing new. This was Vrabel in his press conference the Monday after the Titans lost to Jacksonville in the Josh Dobbs game last year. So the 2022 season's over. So now we have the end-of-the-year press conference. This is what Vrabel said at that.
We have to protect our quarterback better. When you don't protect your quarterback, they get hurt or they turn the ball over. So we have to do that.
Okay, we got to protect our quarterback. He knows it. Then at the Combine, he was talking about the offensive line.
When you mentioned offensive line, Mike, how big a challenge is you could potentially have as many as 3 new starters next year?
Could have 5, Jimmy. I don't know. I'm not in the prediction business. I don't know, but I know that we're going to find guys that exhibit the way that we want to play within the framework of the rules, and that they finish and they value staying between their man and the quarterback. We've got some needs and some holes. I've told you that. I've asked them to look for players that have an element of speed, violence, and versatility, and that's what I want to look for. And look for offensive linemen that can protect the quarterback. Whether that's Ryan, whether that's Malik, that's Josh Dobbs, whoever that may end up being. Those are things that we have to do a better job at.
Might have 5 new offensive linemen. Why? Because he knows the linemen that he had last year sucked. And instead, they banked on PT. They banked on Aaron Brewer. They gave Aaron Brewer real money. And then before training camp, I asked him, because I think we could all look at the offensive line, and I've been nervous about this offensive line the whole time. I asked him how nervous he was about the depth of the offensive line because I knew the line sucked. And I said before training camp, how nervous are you about the depth of the offensive line?
How nervous are you with the offensive line depth, given Nick's suspension and where this team stands with the offensive line?
I'm not nervous, you know what I mean? But we have to be better. We have to be better up front, and we got to protect our quarterback. That's what happens in this league when your quarterback gets hit. They turn the ball over, they get hurt. So, I'm not nervous. I'm excited to see guys compete. I'm excited to see guys, develop a role and a position and versatility. See who can play more than one position.
Probably should have been a little nervous because he spent all offseason saying, we've got to find guys that can protect the quarterback. And they've brought in 2 guys and gave a humongous pay raise to another that literally cannot protect the quarterback. So then the question has to be, why? Is it bad evaluating? Or are there financial constraints? But how can there be financial constraints when you're giving Andre Dillard double the money that Kansas City is giving their left tackle? How can there be financial constraints when you're paying Aaron Brewer the 4th league at center? So how did you get to this group? That's the question. Did you screw up? And that's why he chose not to answer what Caroline asked. Because there is no answer that he has that would make any sense that people would want to hear. Because if he says, look, we thought Andre Dillard could play left tackle. We screwed up. We thought Aaron Brewer, a guy that's been here for the last 4 years, we thought Aaron Brewer wouldn't get the quarterback crushed every time somebody runs a twist on him. We thought Daniel Brunskill, who was a backup in San Francisco, could be a starter here. He's not going to say that because everyone would say, well, that was stupid. Well, your evaluation's not very good. And he's not going to say the owner's cheap because you can't say the owner's cheap. But he spent the whole offseason talking about protecting the quarterback, and I think they've actually gone backwards in terms of protecting the quarterback. Tannehill gets sacked 11% of the time this year. He got sacked 9% of the time last year. So it's not like it's a massive drop-off, but it is, again, a drop-off. When he spent all offseason saying, we got to protect the quarterback, 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 and here we are week 6 and quarterback's hurt. 615-737-1025 will go to your phones. You got a lot of them today, so we'll do that. 615-737-1025 here on Stillman and Company. Plus, Rich Gannon said something in which I think he's the only person I've heard that talks any sense about how the Titans are going to have to win if they're going to win some of these games. We'll get to that coming up next. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. That's right. Hiller has taken great care of my house for years, and Hiller can do the exact same for you. That's right. I love Hiller. I love having Hiller at my home. I love the fantastic job that they do. If you've got some things around your home that you've been putting off fixing, like your regular HVAC maintenance or a clogged bathroom drain, Hiller's got some big discounts for you this month. When the temperatures drop and you start using your heater for the first time, you do not want to be dealing with breakdowns and issues. This month, Hiller is offering half off HVAC tune-ups. And Hiller is bringing back their $99 drain cleaning special. For just $99, Hiller will get you back up and running. These deals only last this month, so be sure to call today. Hiller's work is backed by the Happy You'll Be Your Services Free Guarantee, and I know that because I use Hiller at my home. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
Every day we are live and local.
You need to give Ron Tannehill a 2-year extension.
There haven't been too many coaching changes for the Predators. And your source for Nashville sports.
I think that's what the Titans need.
Players who can score. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Get a great deal on select Kubota equipment, the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience in the U.S. The versatile lineup is built to help you make the most of your land. Right now at participating dealers, get a Kubota compact tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $800 on qualifying implements. Now through October 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimers for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Paris, and White House today.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Come try Calabria Brick Oven Pizzeria. Their pizza is cooked to perfection, but that's not all they're known for. Try one of their delicious appetizers, salads, fresh calzones, and they have a full bar and dessert. Calabria has been a Mount Juliet staple for 7 years now and has a new location in the heart of Goodlettsville off Long Hollow Pike. Come join the family at Calabria. After all, life's too short to eat bad pizza.
Thinning hair is normal, but it doesn't have to be your fate.
Once I started taking Nutrafol, I could visibly see my hair get thicker. It made my hair stronger.
Nutrafol, the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand.
Nutrafol has taken me back to the hair I was meant to have.
You've got nothing to lose and everything to grow. Join the 1 million people growing at Nutrafol.com. That's Nutrafol.com.
Green right, box 2 run, double catch. He takes you inside the huddle through the eyes of a quarterback. Wide 85, take! Catch ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck every Tuesday at noon as he breaks down the big stories in the NFL.
Buffalo, maybe Miami.
And with the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans might be like, we're interested in a 1-year, $1 million contract.
Tim Hasselbeck is on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck on Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Both Spears and Henry flank Tannehill. Tannehill from the pocket. Downfield is intercepted. Intercepted by Geno Stone, and he still has it. Stone weaving his way to the 45-yard line. 24-yard return. Boy, just when the Ravens needed a takeaway, they come up with one.
You see the eyes tracking it the whole way, going up high to take this one. I thought Ryan Tannehill got a little greedy right there. Had a shot for a first down to Derrick Henry. Decides to go for the big one. Stone makes him pay.
What happened on the pick, Chig's open. I just had no push into it and left it short. So at that point, I just figured, I'm going to be a sitting duck back there, and if I can't even step into a throw, then I'm not going to be effective.
At that point, I realized, I can't even play quarterback anymore. My ankle's hurt again. It's a high ankle sprain. It's basically the same thing that happened to him last year. And so Tannehill's out again. Now, I'm not making an excuse for that interception. That was, and I know he was hurt. Like, it's a valid excuse, I guess. But if you're not going to be able to step in the throw, you need to be testing that ankle out on the sideline. If you cannot make that throw, you need to tell the coaches, I can't play. Because you're hurting the team by trying to be a Superman out there. But other than that, I don't understand what you guys are watching when it comes to Tannehill, because some of y'all on the text line are just flying off the handle about how this is all Tannehill's fault. And I'm like, dude, look at your offensive line. Tannehill puts a ball right in Nick Westbrook-Akine's hands, and he doesn't catch it for a touchdown. And I'm supposed to blame Tannehill for that? Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Rob has been waiting patiently. He's going to kick us off today. Thank you for calling. What's up, Rob? Rob. Okay, you know the number, call us back. I'm kind of mad because it said in the box Vrabel, and I wanted to know, is it a pro-Vrabel call when it comes to the offensive line, or is it an anti-Vrabel call? Because what's going to happen, and I said this from the jump, by the way, when it comes to Vrabel and Ran Carthon, and boy, I tell you, the more people I talk to in the NFL about Ran Carthon, the more I get nervous about the future of the Tennessee Titans. I'm not going to kid you. But that's a different discussion for a different day. But what I always said when they talked about, oh, no, this is a collaboration, and you know how it's like super secret to try to figure out who's actually picking the players for the team? Like whose fault it is that they gave Andre Dillard $10 million? Whose fault it is that they gave Aaron Brewer $4.3, though I do think that that's Vrabel's fault since Vrabel had him before. But there's going to be some finger-pointing that starts. And it's not going to happen, I would assume, in the public. But it's going to happen behind the scenes because, as somebody told me recently, when you work for the Tennessee Titans, you're working for a lot of different people. Now, I don't know what that means, right? Like, I don't know if that means it's Amy, it's Kenneth, it's Barkley, you know, the people that they always bring up every time they talk about ownership and not just Amy. I don't know if it's Burke Nighthill. I don't know who, you know, all the different people you're working for are when it comes to running the Titans. But apparently you're working for a lot of different people if you run the Titans. And so I don't know if it's them dragging you in this direction or that direction. I can't tell you. But, again, if there's all those different people that are running the Titans, what's going to happen is one guy is going to go to somebody and convince them that, hey, he's the one that came into my office and said Andre Dillard is the guy that can be our starting left tackle. Ran Carthon's going to go to somebody else in the hierarchy and say, I told him 270 pounds was too small for a center, but they kept saying, no, you don't understand how important having an Aaron Brewer is on your team. And that's going to divide the factions a little bit. So I do wonder if people are blaming Vrabel or not. One texter texts in and says, am I the only person that's out here watching Tannehill? He's just not that good. I think my issue with Tannehill is he's just not that bad. Mike says, can't blame all of Tannehill's issues on the line. It's pretty obvious Tannehill's topped out. Now, when you say topped out, does that mean that you think Tannehill's got nothing left in the tank and you think he's cooked and you think he sucks? Because if that's what you mean by topped out, I disagree with that. I think we saw a couple years ago when Ryan Tannehill got sacked 4.8% of the time instead of 10.7% of the time that Ryan Tannehill was pretty good. When Ryan Tannehill had A.J. Brown, he was pretty good. When you give Ryan Tannehill a Scarbini offensive line and the Vrabel crew at wide receiver with DeAndre Hopkins, he's 31st in the league in QBR. It's always been that way for Tannehill. I don't understand why this is any different. Now, if you're saying he's topped out from the standpoint of what we saw 3 years ago is the best Tannehill, and that's still not good enough to win the Super Bowl, then I'll agree with you. That Ravens game here in the playoffs a couple years ago, Tannehill needed to do more, and he couldn't. That I will agree with you. But that Tannehill is infinitely better than this Tannehill. And that's the frustrating part. Texter says, does Mike Vrabel really think the offensive line is fine, or is he just standing up for his players and not wanting to tell the world the offensive line sucks? I just want to know if he genuinely thinks the offensive line is okay. Like, what is our coach seeing? I mean, I have a pretty good feeling that Vrabel's lying to you. I'm just going to tell you, I have a pretty good feeling that Mike Vrabel knows the line sucks. Texter says, how come Derrick Henry is good enough to have success with this offensive line, but Tannehill isn't? Well, for starters, Derrick Henry's job is dependent on the offensive line and then Derrick Henry. So once Derrick Henry gets running, then it's Derrick Henry. Tannehill's job is dependent on guys catching the football. Nick Westbrook-Akine dropped a touchdown last week. DeAndre Hopkins dropped a touchdown against Cincinnati. There is a second element to this, which is the receiver position and the tight end position, and you kind of stink there too. Now, Hopkins is good, and I do like Nick Westbrook-Akine, even though he dropped that touchdown. He just can't make contested catches, and I like Chris Moore, but he's more of a deep ball guy. But, again, the problem with the line is that it's harder to pass protect than it is to run block. That's why. I remember when the Titans drafted Derrick Henry and they had DeMarco Murray, and I said to Floyd, I go, why would they draft Derrick Henry when they have DeMarco Murray? And he said, what is the easiest way to win in the NFL? And he had already taught me at this point, the easiest way to win in the NFL is to play defense and run the ball. That's the easiest way to win in the NFL. Play defense and run the ball. Okay. Why is it easier to run the ball than it is to throw the ball? Because it's easier to run block than it is to pass block. That's why. Why do tackles make more money than interior offensive linemen? Because tackles go up against pass rushers. That's why tackles make more money. So it's just not even an apples-to-apples comparison. And even then, Derrick Henry is still struggling at least a little bit. He's only averaging 7 yards a game. 70 yards a game. This is Derrick Henry. And again, when the onus is put in a running play, where the onus is put on, hey, they're going to run the ball. The offensive line couldn't get a 4th and 1 at Indianapolis. They can't, they really aren't even good at run blocking. Texter says, let Malik play quarterback until the line gets him hurt and then put Will Levis in. It's the best idea I could come up with this team. Woo. Adam from Portland has come unglued again in the text line. I do want to hit that on the other side. 615-737-1025 plus. Mike Vrabel did something that we begged him to do before the game that he was unwilling to do. And then his explanation and their explanation of it is equally as confounding and disappointing. We'll get to that coming up here on Stillman and Company, 615-737-1025. And once again, we are live today from Bridgestone Arena where the Predators take on the Edmonton Oilers tonight at 7 o'clock. Pre-game at 6, Barry Trotz right here at 5 o'clock on the program. Hey, tune in to 93.3 Classic Hits tonight for MTSU football. The Blue Raiders kick off at 6 against Liberty with pregame starting at 5 o'clock. Coverage also available on the 93.3 Classic app and at 93.3classichits.com.
Vanderbilt Commodore fans, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, along with 94.9 The Fan, is your new home for broadcast of games and the Commodore Hour on Monday evenings. Catch all the action for football, men's and women's basketball, and baseball all season long. Go Doors!
At Harbor Freight, we think you shouldn't have to break the bank to get great tools. Because we know that for some of you, tools are part of the job. And for others, they're just the beginning of making, fixing, restoring, and building. That's why we make high-quality tools that are priced affordably. Because we love being the start of all your working, making, fixing, restoring, and building. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. If you have some things around your home that you've been putting off fixing, like your regular HVAC maintenance or a clogged bathroom drain, Hiller has some big discounts this month. When the temperature drops and you start using your heater for the first time, you do not want to be dealing with breakdown issues, and this month, Hiller is offering half off HVAC tune-up. And Hiller is bringing back their $99 drain cleaning special. These deals only last this month, so be sure to call today. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds of Falls and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
Actor Portrayal, based on a real patient experience.
I'm Mike. I'm a husband, proud father of 2, work my butt off 6 days a week, some nights too. When my family or my company needs me to make it happen, I make it happen. But a few months ago, I started having trouble making it happen, in the bedroom. I tried some pills online, but they didn't work. Honestly, I thought about throwing in the towel on my sex life, but I'm not that old. I still want to enjoy intimacy with my wife. Like that poet said, I don't want to just go gently into that good night. So I went to the Tennessee Men's Clinic in Franklin, got some lab work done, was prescribed some meds, and wow, it made it happen. I can't say enough about them. Their providers took care of me, followed up, and made sure I had a treatment plan that actually works. It's awesome. If I were you, and you're like me, I'd give them a call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. If you're like most guys, they'll make it happen for you too.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra, results vary.
Yo, J Balvin here. Verizon just hooked me up with a new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium. How can you get one? By switching to my plan at your Verizon store, get the amazing new iPhone 15 Pro on them. When you trade in any iPhone, any model, any condition, guaranteed. And listen to my new song, Dientes, on your way to get the new iPhone 15 Pro.
Don't miss out. Switch to my plan from Verizon today. It's your Verizon. $999.99, 128 GB only. Device payment purchase or full retail purchase with new smartphone line on unlimited ultimate plan required. Less $1,000 trade-in or promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR.
One is a legendary NFL wide receiver.
I gotta be prepared. I have to be ready.
One is a legendary Nashville voice.
You don't have to rely on carrying the ball 250 to 300 times.
And the other has been a legendary trash talker on the playground since the 4th grade.
Nobody is a Pro Bowler on day one of rookie minicamp.
They are Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays at 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Oh, and Tannehill runs away. So that's Henry getting the direct snap. Flag is down as Henry runs all the way out to about midfield. Kyle Hamilton on the stop, but we'll see if that was a legal formation and if this 14-yard gain's going to stand. A lot of chatter right there between the Zebras. Ravens are signaling it's on Tennessee.
Illegal formation. Offense. 78 reported eligible, but he covered the tight end. Replay third down.
Thought that play was gonna help us. And Nick was just a little too close to, I guess, to the guy on the line of scrimmage. Nick reported eligible, and a little too tight.
There you go. That was Nicholas Petit-Ferrer getting his first game action in this season. There he is, right up there. Oh, nope, take the big 15-yarder off the board. I'm sure you guys will say that's Tannehill's fault one way or another. So Nicholas Petit-Ferrer got put in at left tackle, and apparently, according to all the grading and everything else from Pro Football Focus, he was even worse than Andre Dillard was. Now, I don't think that's true because I watched the tape, and I think Andre Dillard was worse than PT, but I would say the same thing that I thought last year that was PT sucks. I would say that kind of seems kind of similar for this year. He's not as bad as Andre Dillard, but I'd say that's tracking, as they would say. You want to know how Nicholas Petit-Ferrer didn't really do anything good on Sunday? Listen to Vrabel talk about what he thought of him at left tackle after the game.
Did Nick do enough to win the job at left tackle?
I will still evaluate that, but what I did appreciate that Nick was he was into it. He acted like he wanted to be out there. He acted like he loved it and was, pushing piles, jumping over the pile, just doing some of those things that we feel like are critical and a way to squeeze the last couple yards out of every run. He was down there. Had a really nice block on Tajay's screen, along with some other people, along with Brew and some other guys that were out there in front of that thing. It was a pretty cool clip.
He was into it. He acted like he wanted to be there. Those are the qualifications for you to play left tackle on the Tennessee Titans. For you to impress Mike Vrabel, well, he wanted to be there. I'd like to play coach. Can I get in there? Jason Houdeling, who is the offensive line coach, who was the third offensive line coach last year, promoted by Mike Vrabel because I guess he did such a good job, was asked about Nicholas Petit-Ferrer yesterday. Here's what he said.
I thought he brought a lot of energy. You know, that's the one thing with Nick. You know, he's going to play hard. You know, and he goes out there. He goes 100 miles an hour. You know, and he's throwing his face in there, and he's running his feet through blocks, and just brings a ton of energy to the game. You know, whether it's in run game, pass game. As far as comfortability, again, you'd have to ask him. But there were times he looked comfortable, and probably some plays he liked, and some that he'd want to have back. But at the end of the day, guy plays the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Okay. He brought a lot of energy and he played hard. So he was into it and he acted like he wanted to be there and he brought a lot of energy and he played hard. Why don't you just say, well, you know, he's got a good personality. I mean, that's what this is.
It sounded like more of a reflection on Dillard.
That Dillard's just a complete freaking softy.
Either that, yeah, like they were not really impressed of his, I want to say effort level, but maybe his like compete or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the book on Dillard. Did the Titans not do their homework before they signed him to a $10 million contract? Like, did they not know that, you know, this guy's not very tough? I guess not. By the way, PT's not John Runyon either when it comes to toughness, but I guess he's just better than Dillard. Back to your phones. Adam in Portland has texted in. He's convinced that Tannehill's so bad that the Titans would have a winning record if Josh Dobbs was the quarterback. A quarterback can make all the difference. Not saying he will, but he can, especially when you consider the Titans would have, he said, $35 million, but it's really $27 million. $27 million more to add players if they had gone that route. Here's the thing. First of all, this team would not have a winning record with Josh Dobbs as the quarterback. You're not improving the wide receivers. You're not improving the offensive line just by having Josh Dobbs be your quarterback. Josh Dobbs' team has right now a struggling offensive line and no receivers, although they do have Hollywood Brown, but a struggling offensive line and no receivers. I mean, that's my assumption of Arizona, and they do not have a winning record. This is where you guys start saying stupid stuff that gets you all carried away. The quarterback that I liken Tannehill to is Jared Goff. Now, I remember a couple years ago, I said that Jared Goff was better than Tannehill, and everybody went crazy. Robbie Stanley in particular. And I texted Robbie on Sunday when Jared Goff hit a bomb to Jamison Williams, and I just said, Jared Goff. Because Jared Goff is kicking some serious butt with the Detroit Lions. But you want to know why Jared Goff's kicking some serious butt with the Detroit Lions? He's got a great offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson. He's got high picks on his offensive line like Frank Ragnow, the center, and Penei Sewell, the tackle. He's got wide receivers like Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's got Jamison Williams. Somehow he's got Josh Reynolds and Khalif Raymond. Jared Goff has a team around him. When Jared Goff's got a team around him, Jared Goff can get you into the Super Bowl. Jared Goff can put up 60-something points in that Monday night football game, and Jared Goff can make the Lions a contender. When Jared Goff's got nobody around him, the Lions will be picking second in the draft just like they were 2 years ago. That's what Tannehill is. Josh Dobbs is not that. Jared Goff is not Mahomes. Jared Goff, though, is not a bum. That's what Tannehill is. Tannehill is Jared Goff. Joe Rexrode, who is a Lions fan, contends that Tannehill would actually be better on the Lions than Goff. Now, I don't believe that, but I think they're probably the same. I think Goff maybe has a little bit more talent. Tannehill's probably a little bit smarter. Texter says, many of us Titan fans blame the coach and the general manager for not addressing the offensive line problems, starting with the draft and afterwards. Anyone but an Auburn fan is smart enough to know that was a big problem for the Titans even before the past season ended. Vrabel thought it was a problem for the Titans. He just didn't do anything about it. Woo! Another texter into the text line says, those are just rose-colored lenses ways of saying the players we have are the players we've got. They know it, and they can't say anything about it. I think there's probably some truth to that. Josh in Kentucky says, Jared Goff is miles ahead of Ryan Tannehill. when Jared Goff's got 4 receivers and Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield and Ben Johnson is the offensive coordinator and a tight end? Yeah. I mean, I heard Joe today talking about all these things Jared Goff has that makes Jared Goff so good. And he's like, I mean, those receivers. He's got one, Amon-Ra St. Brown. The others are the recycled guys that couldn't play here. And that rookie tight end, Laporta, they have, oh, God, he's so good. You mean like when you had a good offensive coordinator and Jonnu Smith was a $50 million tight end. Then Jonnu Smith left the good coordinator, and Jonnu Smith was never heard from again. I think Jonnu Smith's in witness protection somewhere, but I couldn't tell you. I guess we'll see Jonnu Smith in a couple of weeks. Everybody was down on Jared Goff, too. Everybody was down on Jared Goff. Texter says Ryan Tannehill had a team around him and he threw the season away. Talking about the 2021 Titans. Okay, this takes me back to Jared Goff. Where do we think the Lions are going to end up this year? In your gut feeling right now, where will the Detroit Lions end the 2023 season? Right now, where we sit, just, again, don't need to analyze it too hard, just right off the gut.
Oh, they probably maybe win one playoff game.
Okay, so the divisional round of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You mean like when Ryan Tannehill got to the divisional round of the playoffs, threw the game away like that? That's why they're the same. Because I don't think Jared Goff is going on the road to Philadelphia and beating the Eagles. And I don't think Jared Goff is going to San Francisco and beating the 49ers. But I think they'll make the playoffs, and it wouldn't surprise me if they win in the playoffs. And that's what Tannehill is. And it just, I just don't get how you people cannot look at this offensive line and think, man, they cannot even, I told you after the Charger game, when I was getting text messages about, why are you talking about the team like this? We won yesterday. And I said, they cannot pass block. Vrabel just admitted it yesterday to Caroline, that they cannot pass block. So every time it's 3rd and 12, and people will say, well, 3rd and 12 is low percentage. I guess it is unless you're playing Christian Fulton, and then you just throw at him. But 3rd down and 6 is low percentage for you because you can't block. So the receivers don't have time to get 6 yards down the field by the time the quarterback's already hit. That's why. And there's nothing any quarterback in the NFL could do about it unless you had Lamar Jackson back there when he was younger and he wanted to run more. That's it. And even then, I don't think that would be a recipe for success. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. More of your phones today. But coming up next, I want to go with I'm going to let you guys pick which route the Titans should go when it comes to the head coach. Because for the first time ever this season, Vrabel is nationally, but he is getting criticized by the fans. So the big Vrabel discussion, if you owned the team, we'll get to that coming up next. Stillman and Company right here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase and Big Joe have your chance to win tickets to see Kiss on Monday, October 23rd, right here at Bridgestone Arena. The contest is brought to you by Green Trees Company, a family-owned cannabis company and dispensary providing high-quality, legal THC products for anyone seeking medicine, relief, or wellness. Located in Hendersonville, and they've got a new location in West Nashville. And, of course, they're online at greentrees.company.com. Again, tune in tomorrow between 9 and 11 for your chance to win.
He knows the ins and outs of the Titans and isn't afraid to give his opinion.
Traylon Burks needs a massive offseason.
He's Jonathan Hutton of Outkick.
I don't see how they make a move without going to Ryan Tannehill.
Catch him every Monday at 10:30 on Chase McCabe and every Wednesday at noon on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Hutton is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Join former Tennessee Titans players Brad Hopkins, Neil O'Donnell, Dexter McCluster, and Al Smith on October 21st from 1 to 5 for the Kurdish Festival and Sports Tournament, hosted by the Salahuddin Center and NFL Alumni Tennessee. This event will be held at the Hivy Center, located at 3124 Old Franklin Road in Antioch. Activities include food, sports tournaments, a bouncy house, and updated COVID and flu vaccines available. Head to NFLGearUp.org/Tennessee for more information.
Hey, it's John Tesh. You know, we've all felt the impact of inflation on everything from food to housing to gas. But most people don't realize the cost of your home and auto insurance is also likely to go up. With the rising cost of building materials, car parts, and labor, even the insurance companies are taking a hit, which means you will too. So if you're working with a company that only has one option and not a company that shops multiple carriers to find the best deal, you're wasting your money. It's why you should be working with Zander Insurance. They represent over 24 top insurance companies that are competing for your business, meaning you get the right home and auto coverage at the lowest prices this year and every year. And Zander's service can't be beat. I know from experience. Just check out their reviews. Saving money has to be a priority these days. Go to Zander.com or call 800-356-4282 and find out how much you can save. You'll see why over 500,000 families trust Zander.
Green Trees Company Dispensary and 102.5 The Game want to send you to see Kiss at Bridgestone Arena October 23rd. Keep listening to Nashville's best sports talk for your chance to win tickets to see Kiss on their End of the Road tour, courtesy of Green Trees Company Dispensary.
Now, your Game Center update.
The Tennessee Titans have the week off after losing to the Ravens on Sunday. The Titans' record now sits at 2-4 heading into the bye week. Head coach Mike Vrabel on trying to keep morale high in the locker room.
Well, I mean, I think it starts this week. It starts tomorrow. It starts with, my message of, showing them the things that, we've done well enough, and then just showing them the things that we can't do and think that we'll win, and making sure that the standard is it's coming to work and being consistent and demanding, the accountability is huge, but the ones that can have to do a little bit more. And the ones that haven't have to improve.
In other NFL news, the Philadelphia Eagles are signing free agent wide receiver Julio Jones. The Nashville Predators return to action tonight when they host Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. The lineup for Nashville will stay the same from the game versus Boston on Saturday. Puck drop is set for 7 with pregame at 6 right here on your home of Smashville, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. And the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders are on the road tonight versus Liberty. Pregame coverage gets underway at 5 with kickoff at 6 on 93.3 Classic Hits. From the Game Nashville studios, this is Ian Safar.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Ross Chastain will be first to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios here at Bridgestone Arena. Preds tonight against the Edmonton Oilers at 7 o'clock. So, Ian, have you ever read, when you were a kid, did you ever read the Choose Your Own Adventure books?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so that's what we're going to do here. So the Choose Your Own Adventure books, it would say, hey, there's a cave and there's a river. If you choose to go in the cave, keep reading to the next page. If you choose to go to the river, turn to page 43. And then you would follow the path of the book by choosing your own adventure through it. That's what we're going to do right now. And you are the ones who choose. So I think the Titans need to figure out right now what it is their plan is. What is their expectation for Mike Vrabel? There's one choice, which is Vrabel's the guy no matter what. They could lose every game the rest of the year. They're 2-15. He acts like a pissy pants in every press conference the rest of the way, in between questions from Jim Wyatt. He just sucks the life out of the rest of the season. He keeps Andre Dillard out there. He keeps Christian Fulton out there. He does everything under the sun to drive you crazy, and no matter what, as long as he doesn't do something that HR has to come down to get him fired for cause, Vrabel's the coach. That's the first option. The second option is Vrabel has to earn his job. That Vrabel has to earn the ability to keep his job. That he's got to inspire you that at the end of this season that you believe that Mike Vrabel knows what he's doing, that he believes that you believe that the players are still listening to him, that he can still get through to the roster, that he can adequately put a coaching staff together, because right now I think that's a huge concern, that he's really got control of things. On one hand, if you choose the Vrabel stays, and we're going to do this by the text line, and the way to do this is Vrabel stays, Vrabel earns. That's what we're doing. You guys are going to pick. Either Vrabel stays, no matter what, or Vrabel has to earn his job. If Vrabel stays, what you're saying is this is all John Robinson's fault. That it's John Robinson's fault that he missed on Isaiah Wilson. It's even though, by the way, I was talking to somebody who said Isaiah Wilson didn't just fool John Robinson. Isaiah Wilson fooled the head coach. Isaiah Wilson fooled Arthur Smith. Isaiah Wilson fooled a lot of people in that building, apparently. But that it was John Robinson's fault on Isaiah Wilson. It was John Robinson's fault on Caleb Farley. It was John Robinson's fault on Dylan Radence. It was John Robinson's fault. So the fact that, you're stuck with Aaron Brewer at $4.5 million and Andre Dillard, and it is what it is. But it's only because it's John Robinson's fault. That's what you're saying. That the reason that you stink is because J-Rob messed it up so bad that even with Vrabel's unbelievable coaching, that there's no way he can fix this, that he can't get it out of it, and that it's going to be a painful roll of the dice over the next couple of years between this epic collaboration between Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel, that these two guys, that you believe that they'll get you to the promised land. It's just going to be painful because it's all John Robinson's fault. That's basically what you're telling me if you say Vrabel stays, which you're entitled to believe that. Now, if you're the other side of it, that Vrabel has to earn his keep, then I think you're holding Vrabel to the same standards that they held John Robinson to, which was, what have you done for me lately? John Robinson got fired having won 61% of his games. 61%. Do you know what percentage Bill Walsh won when he was running the San Francisco 49ers? Arguably the greatest coach ever. 61%. A general manager can only do so much from the standpoint that Thomas Dimitrov with the Atlanta Falcons built a team that was good enough to be up 28-3 in the Super Bowl. At that point, when you're up 28-3 in the Super Bowl, I don't think there's anything that a general manager can or should do to be responsible to get you over the hump. And yes, John Robinson whiffed some in the draft and was terrible in those COVID years. But at the same time, he did draft Jeffrey Simmons, and he did draft A.J. Brown, and he did draft David Long Jr., and he did draft Kevin Byard, and he did draft Derrick Henry, and he did draft Jack Conklin, and he did draft Harold Landry, and he did draft a lot of these guys you really, really like. Traded a 4th-round pick for Ryan Tannehill. So Robinson did a good job. In fact, Robinson did a good enough job that he got a contract extension in January of 2022, and he only got fired in December of 2022. So they were that quick to do the 180 on J-Rob, regardless of whether or not they should or shouldn't have. That's how quick they flipped on him. So if you think Vrabel's got to earn his way, then what you're saying is, hey, I like Vrabel, but I got to see it, or else I'm kicking him to the curb too. You know, at the end of that 2021 season, we had this built up in our mind that Mike Vrabel was some unbelievable, awesome coach, and that he was the one that carried this team across the finish line. Well, if he's so great, then he needs to go ahead and do it. If Vrabel's such a good coach, why is my team 2-4? If Vrabel's such a good coach, why did my team lose 7 in a row at the end of last season? If Vrabel's such a good coach, why is it that once you change out the offensive line, it's not any better than it was the year before. If giving Vrabel more power because he didn't want to trade A.J. Brown, if that is going to be what means good players are coming in here, why is Jack Gibbons starting at inside a linebacker? So this is up to you. And this is how we're going to do it. Again, you text in Vrabel stays, Vrabel earns. And then you go from what they should do at that point. And I am not going to tell you which side of the coin I'm on. Ian, you have a pretty good, you've read the grid though, so you know what side of the coin I'm on, don't you?
Yeah.
I guess that's probably not fair then. But I don't think, I would be surprised. I mean, and again, don't use the text line to guess which side of the coin I'm on this. Because I will reveal to you what side of the coin I'm on once I figure out which way you guys want to go. But I think there's a lot of you that just think that I'm one way where I'm actually a different side of it. So we'll do that next. 615-737-1025. During the break, I will tally up what you guys have decided. Does Mike Vrabel stay the coach of the Titans at the end of the year no matter what? Or does Mike Vrabel have to prove to you this season that he deserves the power you gave him? That he deserves all the praise and the lack of blame nationally? Because, my God, anytime the Titans lose, it's like, well, Vrabel knows. You know, Vrabel's a good coach, and I mean, John Robinson didn't give up a 70-yard punt return last week. So which side of the coin are you on? We'll get to that next. And once you choose your own adventure, I'm going to take you down that path of what that means for the Titans. What I would do in that situation. We'll do that next. 615-737-1025 here on Stillman and Company. Again, we are live at Bridgestone Arena today. 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is happening at Genesis Diamonds. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. For this event, you can choose from 5 years financing or get a free pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond earrings valued at $5,000. Imagine a luxury pre-owned ladies Rolex Datejust for just $199 a month, or a Sea Dweller or Submariner for just $299 a month. No waiting list, no games, just the watch you want at the great Genesis value price you deserve. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be offering top dollar for your Rolex, so you can buy, sell, or trade. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state. Get the timepiece of your dreams and take advantage of our special financing. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolex. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit while supplies last. See store for details.
If you are experiencing persistent shoulder pain that may be the result of overuse or an injury such as a rotator cuff tear or tendonitis, the world-class orthopedic team at Houston Clinic Orthopedics will give you the appropriate medical attention to prevent any additional damage to the shoulder. Chronic pain or a permanent injury may occur without proper treatment. Houston Clinic Orthopedics is conveniently located where you work and live. Visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
You know that feeling you get when your team goes big? You can get that same feeling on Zen Sports, where you score with cash rewards every bet you make. Earn cash rewards on your betting volume each month, and even more cash during your 15-day welcome bonus period. So say goodbye to deposit bonuses that turn into deposit nightmares, and say hello to a better sportsbook experience and real cashback rewards. Zen Sports. Betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up and in Tennessee to bet.
Hey home buyers, TJ Anderson here. Are you looking for a luxury home on over an acre, 7 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, and close to 7,000 square feet? 6551 Brownlee Drive in Nashville's Westmead neighborhood offers that and a 4th car garage, all by an award-winning builder. Text the number 1 to 615-420-2377 for pricing and info. Want your home listing to be seen and heard by home buyers? Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why we are referred by clients so often. TJ Anderson Homes at Benchmark Realty, office number 615-432-2919.
It's time to celebrate this fall and unleash the beast.
Monster Brewing proudly presents to you Beast Unleashed. 0 caffeine, 0 sugar, all the adult beverage fun. The Beast is unleashed with great taste, bold familiar flavors, and 6% alcohol. Go wild with Mean Green, White Haze, Peach Perfect, and Scary Berries. Don't fear the Beast. Enjoy Beast Unleashed at your next tailgate or football party. Drink responsibly. Must be 21 and over.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Okay, so I have not been able to tally up all of the votes during the break, but I think I've got a pretty good idea between, and again, this is what we're doing. It's a choose your own adventure, and we're letting the listeners do the choosing. And the options are Mike Vrabel stays the coach no matter what happens this season. 2-15, acts like a crybaby at the press conferences, says crazy things like the offensive line doesn't stink, and he still keeps the job. And then there is let's see how the rest of the season plays out. Vrabel's got to earn the right. And again, I haven't been able to tally up all the votes because a lot of you have texted it into the text line, but it's basically 3-1, if not 4-1, that Vrabel has to earn his keep. So that is choice number 2. So if you sit there, now again, put yourself in the position of as the owner of the Tennessee Titans. And I know they got a bunch of different owners, and it's kind of fakakta how they do it, but let's just say Jared Stillman owns the Titans. Well, I got to tell you, if Vrabel's coaching for his job, he's probably not going to keep it this year. This is not a good football team. This is an incredibly poorly built team. What the Titans are is what Deion Sanders' Colorado Buffaloes are. The difference is the Titans didn't win one game last year. What happened was Deion got to a team that had no players. Deion got rid of all of them. And he brought in about 3 or 4 good players, right? Travis Hunter, his son, his other son, and the running back. And everybody else is out of the transfer portal. And so, yeah, they're better, but that's a team full of backups. Like the outside linebacker is Arkansas's backup defensive end that entered the transfer portal. Nick Saban said this. The guys you're losing are not your starters, it's your backup, so it kills your depth. That's what the Titans are. The Titans are a team that has a couple of starters, a couple of Travis Hunters, a couple of Shadir Sanders, Tannehill, Henry. But then the rest of it, it's all backups. Dillard's a backup. Brunskill's a backup. Brewer's a backup. Hubbard's a backup. Azeez Al-Shaair's a backup. Sean Murphy-Bunting is I heard Rick Spielman talk about this, and he said that, he's a stopgap. That's what Sean Murphy-Bunting is. He's not a legitimate starting corner. So if you think that Vrabel's got to earn his keep the rest of the way, chances are, unless Vrabel coaches out of his butt, he's probably not going to keep his job. So that means that I would be looking for 2 things. If I'm in the position of Vrabel's got to coach for his job, he's got to earn his right to stay. Number 1, what's the first question anybody asks whenever you talk about firing a coach or a GM or an athletic director or a quarterback or who are you going to hire? For me, that's simple. Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions, is the guy that I have circled. He is the guy that I would say, hey, if I'm going to tear this thing down. Now, I'd get rid of Rand Carthon, too, if I end up firing Vrabel. They're not going to do that because they don't want to pay all that money. They're already paying John Robinson. Now, Vrabel will get another job. So I don't think you have to worry about paying Vrabel if you fire him. But I would be looking at Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator of the Buccaneers. And I would be, and again, this is if I owned the Titans, Caroline Fenton would probably be making her way at some point or another to a Detroit Lions game. I don't know who it is the Detroit Lions would be playing. that we could get Carolina credential in there, but we'd have Caroline at the Detroit Lions game, and we'd make sure that Caroline just happened to find her way into an on-field discussion, a behind-the-scenes discussion, a something or another with Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator of the Lions, and we'd want to know, what does Ben Johnson think of Will Levis? Because if Ben Johnson thinks that he can coach up Will Levis, then Ben Johnson's probably the front runner for the job. That's the first thing. The second thing I would do if I were the Titans in this instance is I would start propping Vrabel up like there was no tomorrow. I might go to the press and I might say, Mike Vrabel is our coach no matter what, even though it's not the truth. Because Mike Vrabel still has value. If I fire Vrabel, which I'm thinking about doing, but nobody knows that I'm thinking about doing it, then Vrabel has no value to me. Then they're just going to wait for me to fire Vrabel, and then nobody's going to give me draft choices in return. But if everybody thinks that no matter what, come hell or high water, I'm committed to Mike Vrabel, then there may be a team or two that's interested in changing their coach who just happens to find out, what would it take if you wanted Mike Vrabel? The Patriots. John Gruden, and Mike Florio at Pro Football Talk wrote about this in his book. But John Gruden, the Raiders were done. The Raiders didn't want John Gruden back. And I'm not talking about in this latest Gruden fiasco. I'm talking about the first Gruden era. They would have fired Gruden. They would have kept Gruden on for another year, and then they would have fired him after that year if things didn't go well. And that's when Tampa wanted John Gruden. I believe they got 2 first-round picks for John Gruden. Now, they won a Super Bowl, so everybody's like, oh, that's great. Good job. Yes. But the going rate for a coach that people think is elite is a first-round or 2 first-round picks, somewhere in that ballpark. Sean Payton went for a first-round pick last year. Now, the Patriots are probably going to be picking 3rd in the draft, so I'm going to guess that the Patriots are not going to trade the 3rd pick to you for the coach, but they may trade the 34th pick in the draft to you for the coach. They may trade their first-round pick next year to you for the coach. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm going to fire Vrabel, even if internally I'm thinking to myself, Vrabel's got to win to keep his job. I don't want anybody to know that, because what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to have my cake and eat it too. I'm going to want to trade Vrabel and get a pick or 2 that are good picks, and I'm going to want to put that on my team, and then I'm going to hire Ben Johnson from the Lions. And I will say I have changed on this. I used to be, kind of against the guru coach. The offensive guru genius calls the plays, farms the other half of the ball out to the other guy, sits there with his giant laminated play sheet. Basically the glorified offensive coordinator head coach. I traditionally have been against that for a long time, but I am no longer against it because for the quarterback's sake, if you've got a good quarterback, a good young quarterback, and he's got a good offensive coordinator, but not a guru coach, a defensive coach, then that offensive coordinator is going to get hired somewhere else. And then my defensive coach is going to have to go find another guru. Whereas I never worry about Kyle Shanahan not being there for Brock Purdy. I don't worry about Andy Reid not being there for Patrick Mahomes. So, again, I now am okay with an offensive guru coach because I don't have to change it out. And Ben Johnson would be my guy. But that is what I would, if Vrabel's got to earn his job, I'd be looking at this schedule saying, we're going to see if Vrabel can really coach out of his tush. We're going to see if Vrabel can get in the habit of going 2-4 and turning things around. But again, that's your choice, not mine. Do I go to the phones, Ian, or do I have to reveal which side of the coin I'm on?
I think it might be time to reveal.
I am one of the minority here. I think Vrabel should stay no matter what. And quite frankly, I would like a guru coach. I really would. I would like a guru coach to come in here, an offensive guy, again, because I have seen what it is like when you've got an offensive coach and a young quarterback, then that quarterback is never going to lose that good offensive coach. Whereas with Vrabel as the coach here, Arthur Smith, good offensive coach, offense is humming, everything's fine and dandy. Arthur leaves, and it's a train wreck. And that's probably going to happen with the Lions when Ben Johnson leaves. You know, that's probably going to happen with a lot of these teams that don't have guru coaches but have guru coordinators because they're going to go get head coaching jobs. So, like, I'm not worried about the future of the Dolphins offense as long as McDaniel is there. But I wouldn't trust Belichick to hire an offensive coordinator at this point if his life depended on it. So, that being said, I do think Vrabel's a good coach. I do think Vrabel needs to stay coaching and needs to get his ass out of personnel, but that's a different discussion. And I certainly don't trust the person the Titans have in personnel right now. But I just don't think it's good for the organization to just be firing everybody over and over and over and over again. I think it's one of these things where I look at Vrabel as an employee, and I'm like, can we work with the employee? The same way Vrabel would say, hey, can we coach him up, is the same thing I would say of, hey, you know, let's have a talk with Mike Vrabel about what's worked in the past, what's not working now. Let's maybe rein him in a little bit in terms of the arrogance and I'll just promote all the people on my coaching staff that stunk last year. I'll just promote them upwards. Like, that's probably not going to fly if I own the team. We're probably not going to be okay with Mike Vrabel on day one saying, I want to fire the guy who's been the equipment manager here for the last 50 years. We're probably not going to do that if I'm owning the team. And we're probably going to have a talk with Mike Vrabel about doing those kind of things if I owned the team. But I'm probably committed to Vrabel through next year. And some people, you know, I have wondered aloud, you know, is his message still getting through to the players? And I liken it to Laviolette. You know, Adam Vingan brought that comparison up. But I didn't think Laviolette deserved to be fired when he got fired. So I am of the minority that Vrabel stays no matter what. And I certainly think the shine is off the apple as far as Mike Vrabel's a great coach no matter what. But just don't think you get in the good habit of fire. I don't think you get in the habit of firing coaches, you know, firing good coaches, firing good general managers. You just fired a good general manager, even though, you know, maybe he thought his poop didn't smell. And I just don't think that getting into that habit does you any benefit. We'll take your phones next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Most of you want to fire Vrabel or want Vrabel to earn his keep. We'll get to your phone. Stillman and Company, 1025-1063, The Game.
All the big plays.
And we are done. Vandy, 24-21.
All the big stories.
I'm sure Vandy will be a much better team if Clark Lee is the coach.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 1025 and 1063.
What a stop by UC Sarah.
Then he wouldn't end up on my team.
Driving his way to victory lane.
I think that's the right strategy.
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Get Black Friday deals earlier than ever at Electronic Express. Get the gifts you want and save up to 40% throughout the entire store. Beat the crowds and save on hundreds of 4K TVs, appliances, computers, and more. Plus, get up to 36 months free financing on items like a Samsung 65-inch 4K TV, now only $549, or a stainless steel refrigerator, only $499. Black Friday deals are here at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Predators fans, Brewhouse South in Cool Springs, Brewhouse Highway 100 in Bellevue, and Brewhouse West on Charlotte Avenue is your home for hockey action all season long. They are Predators approved and all the games are on, and they'll even give you the sound. Get awesome game day drink specials on Blue Note Bourbon and Black Abbey Beer. When you think hockey, think Brewhouse South in Cool Springs, Brewhouse Highway 100 in Bellevue, or Brewhouse West on Charlotte Avenue. Go Preds!
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
City Winery presents Patton Oswalt Effervescent Tour live Saturday, October 21st at 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. The comedian, actor, and writer has found success in all areas of entertainment, from his award-winning comedy specials to his many memorable film and TV roles. Oswalt continues to choose work that inspires him and entertains audiences. You may know him as Principal Durbin on NBC's AP Bio. Patton Oswalt continues to make audiences laugh around the world. Don't miss Patton Oswalt this Saturday, 10/21 at City Winery. Get your tickets at citywinery.com.
The new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium is here. Switch to my plan from Verizon at your local store today, and you'll get the amazing new iPhone 15 Pro on us with Unlimited Ultimate when you trade in any iPhone, any model, any condition. Guaranteed. Yep, even the old phone in your pocket right now. It's your Verizon. $999.99, 128 gigabyte only. Device payment purchase or full retail purchase with new smartphone line on Unlimited Ultimate plan required. Less $1,000 trade-in or promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR.
Whether it's college football,
Players might end up not going to Alabama or Georgia.
or the NFL,
I think that this team wins the AFC South.
Trevor knows. Join ESPN's Trevor Maddich every Tuesday at 4:30 on Stillman and Company as he gives his opinions on the latest from the gridiron.
I'm going to the team where I can get a ring.
Trevor Maddich brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, where experience matters, on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, this is Sean Henry. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
I think Mike Vrabel's a really good football coach, Bruce. I think he's a smart
too.
football coach. I think he knows what the issues are. They're committed to Tannehill. They're going to try and make it work. If he doesn't play really well, it's going to be hard for them to win. If they don't, Derrick Henry's not a big factor, it's going to be hard for them to win. I mean, there's some teams, Bruce, like the Chiefs, for example. They can go out and they can struggle. The quarterback can make a couple crazy decisions and throw it to the other team and still win. Defense can have an off week. They could still win. Buffalo, last night, they could struggle a little bit. Josh Allen can make a crazy, ridiculous throw at the end of the game to help you win it. I think Justin Herbert's capable of doing that. But Ryan Tannehill's not one of those guys, and he's not surrounded by the type of players that allows you to do that. So I think Mike Vrabel knows they're 2-4. It's an uphill battle in that division, and they're going to have to win ugly. That's who they are. I mean, that's nothing's going to change between now and the end of the season. They have to win ugly. Right now, it's not looking good for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, that was Rich Gannon, and of course, like everybody, when they say, and that was Sirius XM NFL Radio, but like everybody, Mike Vrabel is a tremendous coach. I used to believe that too. I don't sit there anymore. I don't think he's a bad coach. I think he's a good coach. I think Vrabel needs to be reined in a little bit, but I don't think that I am not the biggest, just paint a broad brush. Vrabel's a great coach. None of this is his fault. Let's go to your phone. Cedric is up next. Your phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Cedric, go ahead.
Jared, I cannot believe what I heard out of your mouth the last segment, man. I'm going to blame it on COVID because you think that Mike Vrabel should keep his job, man. What happened to the old Jared Stillman, man? But listen, I shouldn't be surprised because you're the same guy that told everybody that we should keep Marcus for years. Listen, man. What has Coach Meathead done, man? He sat there last year. He lied to us. He's like, we got to get faster. We're going to get faster at receiver. We're going to get better players. And did we get faster? Nope. He is responsible for hiring these bum coaches that we have that can't get dudes to block, who can't get dudes to tackle, who can't get dudes to read the offense. That bum has got to go. And Miss Amy, if you're listening, fire Mike Vrabel's ass today. I'm out, man. I'll holler at you next week.
So I don't disagree with a lot of what you said. Like, the problems with the coaching staff, like that, I mean, yes, like the Todd Downing fiasco, that's Vrabel's fault. Like, there's nobody else who should be blamed for that. It's Vrabel. Like, I don't disagree with that. The fact that Vrabel spent all offseason talking about protecting the quarterback, and the best they came up with was Andre Dillard. That's Mike Vrabel. The fact that they drafted Peter Skoronski at left guard, and they're not putting him at left tackle, even though they don't have a left tackle, and left tackle's more important than guard, and anybody with common sense would know that, that's Mike Vrabel. I don't disagree with anything you're saying except for this. I do think Vrabel's still a good coach. I do think he's a good coach. Do I think he's a great coach? Do I think that I should start every sentence with, Vrabel's a great coach, and that should excuse all the bull crap that he's done that's stupid, like that game plan against the Browns? No. You know, I don't think that. And I just don't think, and I thought John Robinson was a good general manager, and you all thought crazy for that too. I just don't think that an organization should be in the habit of constantly firing good people. And, you know, if you fire Robinson and then you hire Carthon, and who knows if Vrabel, you know, approved that hire or didn't, you know, or wanted that hire or didn't, and then you fire Vrabel, and then you're putting that in charge of Rand Carthon, and what's Rand Carthon do to make us think that he's deserving of hiring a coach? And so now you're stuck with his and like, it's just too much of a tangled web. So, I mean, if I owned the team, I would internally be thinking, you know, hey, I want things to improve, and I'm going to give Vrabel another chance after this year, but I wouldn't be very happy about it. Ian, does that make any sense?
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want people to think that I'm giving Vrabel a huge pass here. I'm not the morning show.
You don't all of a sudden be a great coach and then just completely drop off. So I still think he's a good coach, yeah.
That's how I felt about Laviolette. You know, when they fired Laviolette, I thought Poyle was the problem, not Peter Laviolette. And so right now with this team, I mean, I certainly think Vrabel's a big part of the problem here. I'm not. But I just think that, you know, Vrabel doesn't need to be in personnel. Vrabel needs to be coaching the team.
The personnel in the whole, like, you know, is there like a blurred line now between the players as far as good cop, bad cop?
Vrabel needs a boss.
When J-Rob was around, you know, you could always be like, oh, it was the personnel and the coach has our back. But, like, when the line is blurred and he's the coach, but he's also the personnel, it's like, you know, I wonder if that changes the dynamic as a player.
I think it might. I can't speak to that because I'm not a player, so I wouldn't tell you how they feel. Like, do they give a rat's ass or not? I don't know.
Yep.
But I think Vrabel needs a boss. Like, he needs a football boss. He needs somebody in charge of him that's going to say, no, Mike, we're not doing that. But this Aaron Brewer, he plays so hard with such effort. I don't care. We're not putting a 270-pound center and paying him $4.3 million. I was talking with somebody yesterday. I hate doing this because, you know, Floyd used to never like it if I would put words in his mouth. But I'm like, Floyd would never be okay with a 270-pound center. If you were to tell Floyd that if he were to come back to life and you were to say the Titans have a 270-pound center, he just, and you're paying him $4.3 million? This is stupid. And so I think there needs to be a fail-safe in place to keep those kind of things from happening. Let's go to James, who's up next and has been waiting patiently on Vrabel. Thank you for calling. What's up, James?
What's up, man? I'm here to talk you off the ledge, brother. First of all, I agree with your take on Mike Vrabel staying. I also agree with your take about this being Colorado, where we got a bunch of other teams, second string players starting. When they fired John Robinson, which I agreed with, because at this point, Isaiah Wilson, Dylan Radins, Caleb Farley, and after this year, Fulton will be gone. We were in rebuild mode. There is no contract that Rand Carthon put us to ink the paper on this year that we can't walk away from at the end of this year. This was, maybe it works, hope it works. If it doesn't, we're already in rebuild mode. And we were cash strapped. So, but there's nothing that he did that goes past next year if it doesn't work out.
So you're saying you're committed to them for the next 2 years is what you're like, this year and next year?
I am, because it was already a rebuild. Well, if Dillon gets a change of scenery, maybe he can play. Well, if Brunswell, maybe he could play. But it's not working. But you're not committed to them past the end of this season. Everything, it may hurt a little bit. Everybody can be cut. Everybody we sign.
So I don't disagree with that.
And we'll have $100 million.
I don't totally. Thank you for your call, Jan. I mean, again, it's crazy because two guys had two totally different viewpoints, and I don't completely disagree with either of them. I mean, I do think that I don't think the Titans went into this year trying to rebuild their team on the fly. Like, I don't think that they looked at it and said, hey guys, like, we're not going to be very good this year because we're going to try to patch this together with Azeez Al-Shaair and Daniel Brunskill, but that's what we're going to try to do, and then hopefully we'll be good next year, because if that was the case, why is Skoronski not playing left tackle? I mean, again, there's no reason that why is Brewer making $4.3 million? If you didn't think, like, this is what crazy to me is Aaron Brewer stinks and is too small, but what's crazy is that by paying him $4.3 million, you're doing that because you're like, no, we think that Aaron Brewer has got to stay so that we can win these games. And it's like, wait a minute, what? So that's where, like, the Titans are 1 foot in, 1 foot out, right? Like, if you're trying to rebuild, you don't sign DeAndre Hopkins. The Carolina Panthers didn't sign DeAndre Hopkins. The Chicago Bears didn't sign DeAndre Hopkins. Like, none of these, rebuilding teams. The Arizona Cardinals, probably the definition of rebuilding and tanking, they cut DeAndre Hopkins. So I don't think that was the intention going into the season. But I do think that if this is a bad season, that can be the logic, which is it's all John Robinson's fault and we have to dig ourselves out of John Robinson's problems. Here's an issue, though, that I think is probably underscored by the knee-jerk reactions the Titans have had. And this includes Robinson in this, but also with his firing, which is the constant knee-jerk reactions that the Titans, like the trade using a third-round pick to go up and get Will Levis. If that doesn't work, you don't have any picks next year. I think you have your first, your second, and I want to say, I think I heard today they have 3 picks in the first 6 rounds. Is that true? Or 3 picks in the first 5 rounds next year? So you want to rebuild the team, you don't have any picks. So it's going to be hard to be able to do that. And you're not going to finish so poorly that you're going to get a pick that will just yield 9 picks in return, like the first John Robinson trade they made, because there are so many bad teams in this league. So I don't really know, like, how that's going to help you. In fact, I think it's pretty obvious how much it's going to hurt you to try to do that. So if you say to Rand Carthon and Vrabel, like, hey, you've got 2 years to get this turned around, well, they don't have any picks. So Levis is going to be the quarterback next year. Spears is going to be the running back. You're going to lose the second Derrick Henry leaves this team, you're going to be terrible. If Derrick Henry was not on this team right now, you would be right there with the Broncos and the Patriots and all the embarrassing teams in the league that aren't Carolina. If Derrick Henry was not on this team. So you lose Derrick Henry. So now Spears is the running back. Levis is the quarterback. Your offensive line's probably still a patchwork mess. You're still hoping and praying for Burks to be a breakout wide receiver. You're going to be awful next year. So then you're just delaying the inevitable of them getting fired, but then you're going to let them pick guys and pick quarterbacks and pick people that aren't going to end up seeing this through. You're going to be what the Chicago Bears are. The Chicago Bears drafted Justin Fields with Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy as their coach and general manager. And then after 1 year, they fired him. And so in comes Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus, and they've got Justin Fields, and now they're trying to figure out whether or not Fields is any good, and they're not winning any games. So now they're getting fired, and they're going to pick another quarterback. And that's just a cycle because the last guy keeps picking the quarterback, so the new guy comes in, maybe with a bum quarterback or players for a different system or whatever it may be, and now it's a problem. So, I mean, I'd be careful about doing all of it that way. 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your phones on this. 615-737-1025. Now, there is one piece of good news as far as the people that want Vrabel out that I do think is just something to keep an eye on. We'll get into that, and then we're right back to your phones. Twice daily. You know I love Twice Daily. And Twice Daily, they love it when the Titans score in the last 2 minutes of either half because they'll give away a free half sub the following Monday. So yesterday, if you were a loyalty member with your app, you could have gotten a free half sub at Twice Daily. That's right. Who loves that? Everybody got to love that. I love that. Everybody loves it. That's right. And again, you score when the Titans score in the last 2 minutes. Download the Twice Daily app today and join their loyalty program to unlock special discounts, savings, and so much more. It pays to be a member with Twice Daily, where you'll earn points and save money with every visit. Get what you crave at Twice Daily. Made to order sandwiches, bakery, breakfast, lunch and dinner, fresh items made to go, hot drink, cold drinks, and stop by the beer cave to unwind with a cold one. If you're looking for convenience, Twice Daily has you covered. Twice Daily, fresh all day.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Get wings the way you want them. Try Twin Peaks wings bone-in breaded, naked, smoked and grilled, or boneless in your favorite sauce or rub.
Hi, this is Rudy Gatlin of the Gatlin Brothers. Larry, Steve, and I would like to invite you to join us for the second annual Blood Assurance Celebrity Golf Tournament Monday, October 23rd at the beautiful Hermitage Golf Course. All proceeds benefit local high schools through the Blood Assurance Heroes Grant Fund. There are going to be a lot of great prizes, but one lucky player will win a trip for two to play golf in Ireland. To sign up and for more information, go to bloodassurance.org/celebrity-golf. Come on and join us.
How do you bond with someone you have nothing in common with? Answer, fantasy football. How do you reconnect with old friends? Answer, fantasy football. How do you spice up small talk? How do you overcome awkward situations? How do you prove to your peers that you're a smart, capable, devastatingly good-looking force to be reckoned with, and nothing they can do or say will ever change that? Answer, ESPN Fantasy Football. Play the #1 fantasy game. Sign up at espn.com/fantasyfootball. Insights provided by IBM Watson.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Insightful discussion.
When we talk about the person that these players are.
3 goals scored in the first 5 minutes.
He wants to be the starter, day one.
Mixed with spirited debate.
Okay, but let's Professor Derek.
They are Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
We got the whole thing covered. We got it all covered.
Weekdays at 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The wheels are off. What do you want? There's now, I even think the first couple of weeks Bill was fighting it, which is why he was such a freaking a-hole for a couple of weeks. And even that, I even feel like in the last 24 hours, he's...
Resignation.
Yep, he's let go. He's let it go. And he actually had some actual answers to some legitimate questions today. And he wasn't all defensive and paranoid and weird. He's still, taking the NFL mic and shoving it. But I even think it's over. They're all just playing out the string. We're all just playing out the string. How did it get so bad?
There you go. That was Felder and Maz in Boston on Belichick. I don't know any way Belichick survives the season. Not that this is a show that breaks down Belichick, but it does kind of feel like Belichick's probably out at the end of the year. And I do think that Mike Vrabel would be a top target of the Patriots if Belichick were to be gone at the end of the year. The only reservation that I have is that I don't trust Rand Carthon to hire a coach. That's the only reservation I have. So hopefully Vrabel can take him with him. And then you can just start from scratch. And that I would not be opposed to. Because then I'm hiring Ben Johnson from the Lions. Let's go to your phones. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. By the way, Ian, do you think Belichick will be the coach of the Patriots next year?
Good question. I don't know. Do you think the rest of the season matters at this point? Yeah, probably. Yes, he will be. I'll say yes.
See, I just can't see it. I think they're just going to be hot garbage, and that in that city you can't be that no matter what you've done. And Brady's success has definitely made it look worse. And I do think that if Bill's available or if Bill's fired or retires, Vrabel's probably the top candidate for that job, right? If they think they can get Vrabel. So we'll be keeping our eyes on that. Scott is up next here on the program. Thank you for calling. Thank you for waiting. What's up, Scott?
Yeah, I think you hit the crux of the real problem right before the break is, it's obvious that we're already in rebuild mode, but we don't have the tools to rebuild with, which is why, it's going to hurt, and it's going to hurt to see him go. But we need to trade Derek right now and Byard, and he's hurt. I wish we could have traded him last week, but needed to trade the quarterback. I mean, we need picks, and we need to get picks and then trade down and get more picks because we've got about 30 holes to fill on the roster, and there's no real relief in sight. And I don't know that I really trust Carthon to make the picks, but I'm willing to give Vrabel time to coach, but he's obviously terrible at personnel, and a lot of the bums that he brought in, even when J-Rob was here, Clowney and the two ancient cornerbacks who couldn't run, all his ex-Houston guys. Vrabel should be nowhere near personnel decisions ever. But as far as motivating a team and getting ready, yeah, he can do that. But I mean,
here's my problem with selling at the trade deadline, right? And I appreciate your call, Scott. And by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed this yesterday. I figured this would be a much bigger deal. Like Vrabel was asked, Ian, if we could, the John Glennon cut where Glennon asks, would you be thinking long-term about the team instead of short-term? And listen to where Vrabel takes it.
If that is the case, I mean, should any decisions be made at all looking more towards long-term than for just this year if the problems?
Well, I think we're always looking for this year and problems. I mean, Anthony Kendall, Matt Jackson, they earned the right to be on this team, and Anthony has done a fantastic job. And when they punted, Anthony took his guy in a single block and blocked him behind the line of scrimmage and knocked him on the ground. So, we have to, when we cover these punts, it's not just all on a gunner.
Wait a minute. So they asked about making long-term decisions, and somehow he turned this into a discussion about covering punts? What? And so then Caroline, and see, this is why you can't be nice about things when it comes to asking questions in press conferences. Like, you can't say, coach is the reason. You just have to ask it. So Caroline asked him, are you going to sell at the trade deadline? Do we have that one?
Would you consider trading assets at the deadline and prioritizing a draft pick in next year's draft?
I think we would always consider trying to strengthen the team, whether that's right now, this week, or in the future. Absolutely.
I mean, he did not rule that out. And I figured that would be like a massive headline about like Mike Vrabel says the Titans are open to, he's saying they're open to selling. They've got one game before the deadline. The best they can be is 3-4. And he did not shoot that down. And I was expecting Vrabel when, and again, good job by Caroline to ask it directly, but I was expecting Vrabel to basically shut that down and say, no, we're focused on winning right now. We're focused on the Atlanta Falcons. We're focused on this, that kind of thing. And he didn't. Here's the problem, though, with everybody. It's like, need to trade Byard, need to trade Henry, need to trade Tannehill, need to trade all these guys. What's the last team in the NFL that tore everything down and has rebuilt successfully for being sellers at the trade deadline? Like the Dolphins tore their team down, but the reason why the Dolphins are good is because when the Dolphins were bad, they were able to draft Jalen Waddle, and then they traded picks for Tyreek Hill. But I don't think they traded those picks that they got for tearing their team down, like the 4th rounder that they got for Tannehill and drafted some guy I've never heard of. I don't think that they rebuilt their team with those players. And Buffalo made the playoffs, and they tore their team down, but they didn't trade it. Like, they didn't trade people. They just, decided we weren't going to be very good, and we're going to move along a young quarterback. But they didn't go crazy at the deadline. The Broncos, the last 3 years, have been trading at the trade deadline, and the Broncos aren't any closer to being any good. So I guess I just don't see the value in getting rid of all those guys. And I'll give you an example, right? A lot of you want to get rid of Tannehill and put in Will Levis. So when you decide to do that, you know what would help out Will Levis? A running game. So you want to trade Derrick Henry, so now he's turning around and handing the ball to Spears? And so now those 3rd and 8s and 3rd and 9s that Vrabel even admitted yesterday they can't block, you want to put Will Levis in the shotgun for those? And you don't think there's going to be an issue with that? I mean, I know everybody wants everything right now, but I just don't see the whole, tear it down to the studs and see where that takes you. Because I don't see that working very often. I mean, I'm trying to think of a team where that's worked. Ian, has that worked for anybody lately in the NFL?
It doesn't really work like that in the NFL, I don't think, either.
Yeah.
No. I mean, Detroit, kind of, not really. I mean, they traded away a bunch of picks for Stafford, the Stafford thing, and Goff. Kind of a big trade.
But Stafford requested the trade.
Yeah. And so, I mean, they got a lot back. It wasn't like a Lions. I mean, they decided, I guess they didn't have to trade him.
But they weren't competitive. Like, they weren't,
Philly kind of got rid of Wentz and went with.
But he requested the trade.
So, again, not quite apples to apples.
I mean, it's not like Philadelphia tore their team down and traded away Lane Johnson and, all of their players. They traded away one guy. And then they put in a young guy at quarterback.
Denver, yeah, like you said, Denver's trying that. It didn't work very well.
Denver traded Von Miller for a 2nd and a 3rd round pick.
Bradley Chubb.
And then they traded Bradley Chubb for a 1st round pick.
Now
they're trying to trade everybody.
They traded for Wilson, so they're trying to make all types of moves. Not really working very well.
Like, I don't remember the Seattle Seahawks tearing it down except for trading Russell.
They got rid of Wagner, but he came back, actually. But, yeah.
I mean, so I don't. What you guys want, I think, just doesn't really happen in the NFL. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. So there is something that a lot of you all just want to completely ignore. You're willing to admit that your offensive line is bad. In fact, you're willing to admit that your offensive line is terrible. But then there's a second caveat about the future of the Tennessee Titans that a lot of people just for some reason just pretend doesn't exist, even though they already acknowledge the line's bad. I don't understand this line of thinking. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Are you always on the go? we've got you covered. Download the Game Nashville app from your app store and listen to us wherever you are.
Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexroad. It's Chase McKay.
Caroline, Willie, D-Mays.
Stillman Company.
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
Good station. I listen to it all the time.
102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad.
No problem, sweetie.
I can't believe you're able to fit everything in that little sedan.
Bye!
When they move out, you can move on to a house that fits your life. It's time to live in a space that fits your family.
Let Regal Realty Group get you into a home that is less to take care of. Save money or even make money on the sale of your current home. Get more info at regalrg.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Actor Portrayal, based on a real patient experience.
I'm Mike. I'm a husband, proud father of 2, work my butt off 6 days a week, some nights too. When my family or my company needs me to make it happen, I make it happen. But a few months ago, I started having trouble making it happen, in the bedroom. I tried some pills online, but they didn't work. Honestly, I thought about throwing in the towel on my sex life, but I'm not that old. I still want to enjoy intimacy with my wife. Like that poet said, I don't want to just go gently into that good night. So I went to the Tennessee Men's Clinic in Franklin. Got some lab work done, was prescribed some meds, and wow, it made it happen. I can't say enough about them. Their providers took care of me, followed up, and made sure I had a treatment plan that actually works. It's awesome. If I were you, and you're like me, I'd give them a call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. If you're like most guys, they'll make it happen for you too.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra. Results vary.
The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the Game at 615-737-1025.
We gather together in communities across the nation to remember and honor, to celebrate and support, to light the night. We are LLS, and when we walk, cancer runs. Find your local event at lightthenight.org.
Now, your Game Center update.
This Game Center update is delivered by Black Tie Moving. The Tennessee Titans have the week off after losing to the Ravens on Sunday. The Titans' record now sits at 2-4 heading into the bye week. Head coach Mike Vrabel spoke yesterday about trying to keep that fighting identity during a tough stretch.
We're going to fight. Like, if you want our identity, we're going to fight. We ain't going to quit. Like, we've been through this before. You could go down there and game like yesterday, 35-3 or whatever. Like, we're going to fight. They're going to fight. And our job is to eliminate some of the mistakes, try to get a little bit of the details better, be better on third down, score these chances, and we get the ball down there in the red zone.
In other NFL news, the Philadelphia Eagles are signing free agent wide receiver Julio Jones. The Natural Predators return to action tonight when they host Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. The lineup for Nashville will stay the same from the game versus Boston on Saturday. Puck drop is set for 7 with pregame at 6 right here on your home of Smashville, 102.5-106.3 The Game. And the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders are on the road tonight versus Liberty. Pregame coverage gets underway at 5 with kickoff at 6 on 93.3 Classic Hits. This Game Center update delivered by Black Tie Moving. Use the promo code GAME to score 10% off your next move. From the Game Nashville studios, this is Ian Safar.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
And the score!
You can run different offenses.
The doors on the board. Off the field, on the field.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Trevor Maddich in 30 minutes, and I have a very, very, very poignant question to ask Trevor. Now, I would like to enter this evidence in as fact, this opinion as fact, before we get any further on this discussion. The Titans' offensive line sucks. Does anybody disagree? Ian?
I guess not.
Speak now or forever hold your peace, everyone. I know Vrabel said yesterday that he would disagree with Caroline that the line's not struggling, but the line does in fact suck. And even Vrabel said yesterday that they can't pass block. I guess his words were saying we can't get in a drop-back passing game. I don't think I've ever heard a coach say that, by the way, which tells you how bad it is. So we all agree the line's terrible. Okay, that is a fact. It's entered into evidence. And we're not going to debate this. So a lot of Titan fans want to see Will Levis play quarterback. There's a lot of Titan fans that don't think Will Levis will be any good. But there's a lot of Titan fans that want to see him, and the logic being that at some point you've got to see what Will Levis has to offer. But they also seem to be completely undeterred by the fact that this offensive line is horrendous. Again, something that we're not even debating anymore. We know they're terrible. I don't care what Pro Football Focus or ESPN, I don't care what the Titans line's horrible. So these Titan fans are completely unconcerned with the idea of putting Will Levis behind an offensive line that can't block and then asking him to go out there against NFL defenses and that not having some kind of effect on him long term. As I would say, ruining the quarterback. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. You guys watch all these games. You guys have seen the line. Vrabel admitted it yesterday that they can't pass block. And you want to stick the future franchise quarterback behind it? Why? And what do you expect he's going to be able to do? He's got a line that can't block. He's got receivers that can't catch. He's never played in the NFL before, and you're expecting him to go out there and do better than Tannehill? Why would you expect that? You're expecting in the first season that he's going to show you something that just makes you oh, he's our guy, or oh, nope, he's a bum, move on to the next guy. I mean, this does not make any sense to me. So I'm going to ask Trevor when he joins us on the show. I'm going to say to Trevor, can this offensive line ruin the quarterback? Because I'm listening to Robbie and Joe this morning, and Robbie's like, I think at some point you've got to see what you have in Levis, which we'll get to in a second. And then Joe said it's never going to be perfect. So, yeah, the line's bad, but it's never going to be perfect. Well, I hope at some point it's going to be better than it is now. And let me tell you, next year, if Levis is the quarterback and they don't improve the offensive line, you will ruin the quarterback. But it's like we've bitched about the same things about this team for the last 2 years. The offensive line, the receivers. Oh, if they just hadn't traded A.J. Brown. Well, guess what? Will Levis isn't going in there with A.J. Brown at wide receiver. So you used a second-round pick and a third-round pick on Will Levis to be your quarterback of the future. And you just want to run him out there because you're impatient and you want to see him play right now? Doesn't that seem a little short-sighted? And I don't understand this. When sitting in the NFL for a quarterback all of a sudden just became a bad thing. Ian, who's the best quarterback in the NFL right now?
I mean, Mahomes probably.
Did he sit on the bench?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's the best quarterback of all time?
Probably Brady.
Did he sit on the bench?
For a little bit, yeah.
Yes, he did. Aaron Rodgers sat on the bench for 3 years. You don't think the Green Bay Packers knew what they had in Aaron when they kicked Brett Favre out the door? Of course they did. See, here's what I think people are misconstruing. Because you don't watch practice. You don't see, the 7-on-7s. You don't see the practice reps. You don't see what they see. So you don't see the work that they put in at the facility, behind the scenes, everything else. So you only see what happens on game days. And then, some preseason games and maybe, if you're lucky enough, an open practice. So you want to see what they have in Will Levis. But what Will Levis is today is not, I hope, what Will Levis will be at the beginning of next year. But you're impatient. You're the one that wants to see him. So you're taking what is an obvious problem, your offensive line, and completely ignoring it because you don't want to hear that it's probably not a good idea to go out there and just run them out there and see what you got, and there's nothing you can do about it. In fact, I looked up which rookie quarterbacks got sacked the most as rookies. David Carr got sacked 76 times as a rookie on that expansion Texans team. I'm not saying that the Titans' offensive line is as bad as that Texans expansion offensive line, but it can't be that much worse. But David Carr was unquestioned 1-1. Like, there was no doubt he was going number 1 overall. And he got sacked 76 times. And he never made it. Tim Couch is number 2. He got sacked 56 times. Tim Couch didn't make it. He was 1-1. Blake Bortles got sacked 55 times. He didn't make it. The best quarterback who has been sacked at just an unbelievable clip as a rookie was Jake Plummer. And I like Jake Plummer. Like, Jake the Snake had a nice little career for himself. But if Will Levis is Jake Plummer, Vrabel's fired. There's just no way. So all these other quarterbacks, Dieter Brock, Kyler Murray, Tony Banks, Rick Meyer, all these other quarterbacks that just got sacked at an unbelievable clip, for the most part, all failed in the NFL. You don't think that that's at least somewhat of a correlation? You think it's all, no. Tim Couch, yeah, he got sacked the second most in the history of the NFL as a rookie quarterback, but the reason why Tim Couch didn't make it was because Tim Couch sucks. Yeah, David Carr, he didn't make it, but the reason why is not because he got sacked 76 times. It's because he sucks. Corey Curtis tweeted me earlier today, and Corey said, and I don't even know, I thought Corey was like in Nashville and then spent some time in Chicago, and then Corey said that he covered the Texans the first year for David Carr, and said that this is what Corey said. He had ability, and he clearly had a gun show. No. He had ability, and he clearly got gun shy at some point after the weekly beatings. So, Corey's telling you, that affected him. So you're going to subject Will Levis to that? You know the line sucks. Why would you do that? And then everybody else is like, well, I got to learn sometime. Yeah, next year, he can learn on the bench. You do realize that, right? I said, when Anthony Richardson got drafted by Indianapolis, I said, boy, the only hope is that Indianapolis ruins him. Because he's got the most talent maybe of any player in the NFL. And what happened with Anthony Richardson? I told you if I was the Colts and I drafted Anthony Richardson, I would get up there at the podium that day and say, Gardner Minshew is our starting quarterback. Because Anthony Richardson needs to sit on the bench. He needs to learn. He needs to see how to be a pro. He needs to see how they do things. Instead, They run him right out there because the crazy-ass owner can't wait 5 minutes. He's got, just like you all, he's got to have that instant gratification now. Oh, there's no better place to see Anthony play than to put him on the field. And now he's having shoulder surgery because he doesn't know how to protect himself in the NFL, something that he could have learned by sitting on the bench. By having a Gardner Minshew with his arm around him saying, hey, man, watch how I do things here. And, you can't do those kind of things in the NFL. When Tannehill was with the Dolphins as a rookie, they were featured on Hard Knocks. And David Garrard, the former starter in Jacksonville, was on that team. And the first day of practice, Tannehill got lit up because he didn't slide. And David Garrard and Matt Moore said, dude, you got to learn how to slide. Well, let's go over this about how to slide. Now, Tannehill still stinks at sliding. But the whole point is, that's why you have those veterans there. So instead, because you're impatient, because you want to see Will Levis play, you just completely dismiss the idea that your horrendous offensive line could get him killed and ruin another quarterback of yours. You guys think that, I just don't think McNair's any good. So we're going to draft him 3rd overall, and then we're going to sit him on the bench for 2 years? Or do you think it was because he knew where McNair was, and he knew where McNair needed to get, and he knew that it was going to take time, and that there were limitations there? I mean, I remember the day after Patrick Mahomes got drafted in the 1st round, Chris Carter, the Hall of Fame wide receiver, was on Fox, and he's like, why is Andy Reid saying he's going to sit him down? I want the cookies now. I'd say that worked out pretty well for Kansas City. 615-737-1025. So that's the question we're going to ask Trevor, which is, can you ruin a quarterback, in this case Levis, with a bad offensive line, no tight ends, and 1 wide receiver, and saying, here you go, babe? 615-737-1025. Plus, Rich Gannon reacts to Malik Willis's time management. We'll get to that. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
He breaks down every game.
The players are still going to be fine.
And knows the ins and outs of the two-tone blue.
They deal with their own position coaches.
He is ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport.
It's clear what he's doing.
TD joins every Monday at 1, Thursdays at 3, Friday mornings at 8, and anytime on the Talkin' with TD podcast.
I think that's really cool how he could show both sides.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Put Lee Company on your team and stay ahead of the game with home maintenance, improvements, and repairs. For only $12 per month, you'll receive 4 visits to your home each year by an experienced technician and discounts on service calls, parts, and labor. You'll also receive priority service with no emergency service rates. Let Lee Company keep your air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, and heating systems in tip-top shape. Visit LeeCompany.com today and schedule your first appointment online. Lee Company, all you need.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is happening at Genesis Diamonds. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. For this event, you can choose from 5 years financing or get a free pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond earrings valued at $5,000. Imagine a luxury pre-owned ladies Rolex Datejust for just $199 a month, or a Sea Dweller or Submariner for just $299 a month. No waiting list, no games, just the watch you want at the great Genesis value price you deserve. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be offering top dollar for your Rolex, so you can buy, sell, or trade. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state. Get the timepiece of your dreams and take advantage of our special financing. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolex. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit while supplies last. See store for details.
Check, check. You might already know about the Acura MDX. V6 engine, seat 7, a real driver's SUV. We have an announcement. We swapped that engine with a specially made 3-liter turbo V6, race-tuned the steering and suspension, added Brembo front calipers, and for the first time, added Type S performance to an SUV. So we're just gonna drop this right here. The Acura MDX and first ever MDX Type S. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Blue Raider fans, your home for all the MTSU football and men's basketball action is on 93.3 Classic Hits and 95.1 Classic Hits in the borough. Catch the action all season long with Chip Walters on the call. Go Blue Raiders!
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Anyone want to tell me what happened? Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Willis can't take a sack. And he does. Flag down in the end zone, though. Let's see what the flag is in the end zone.
Defense number 10. Half distance to the ball. Automatic first.
Willis takes the sack. It's Clowney. Second sack of this drive. Willis. For the end zone. Another flag is out. Phillips, the intended target. Millette going to get flagged again.
Phillips on the last one. Starts inside, breaks outside.
Defense number 10. Foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed on the 1 yard line. Automatic first down.
Willis keeps it. And Willis almost still gets it in. But a flag is down. That will stop the clock.
Illegal block in the back. Offense number 32. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Willis takes another sack.
There you go. That was Malik. And I will tell you, I was listening to Rich Gannon's breakdown on SiriusXM NFL Radio. And when I saw Malik try to cut it back inside and go down, I thought, what is he thinking? What is he doing? Why is he doing that? I'm like, no, but have you never played Madden before, Malik Willis? I mean, did they not even talk to him at the combine about, so how do you manage a clock at the end of a game? Do you know that when you go out of bounds, the clock stops? When you go back inbounds, the clock starts. And then I was listening to Rich Gannon talk about it. Here you go.
You saw Mike Vrabel on the sideline after Malik Willis ran out of bounds, and then did you see him? You know, the clock. They need the clock. He's about to run out of bounds for no gain, and he turns it back inside.
And he decides to come back in.
I mean,
it was almost like, are you trying to win the game or lose the game? That was incredible.
I mean, he's like, what are you trying to lose the game? Like, that's the question. And that right now is your backup quarterback. Hey, Jared Stillman, 102.5 The Game. Were you trying to win the game or were you trying to lose the game with what you were doing there? Thank you. 615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. With Tannehill being injured, what about rotating Willis and Levis like they do with Henry and Spears? First of all, I don't like how they rotate Henry and Spears. I think Derrick Henry needs to be getting the lion's share of the carries. I think it's stupid when they line up Tajay Spears to run him in like a regular I formation, and he gets about 1 yard facing a Derrick Henry defense because he's not Derrick Henry. Secondly, I hate the idea of rotating quarterbacks. I don't even like the idea of rotating the quarterback in the preseason game. The way they did at Chicago with Willis and Levis, I don't even like that. So I definitely am not doing that in a regular game. That I've got an interesting issue with. Texter says, Rich Eisen might possibly be the worst play-by-play guy. Listening to him talk was actually awful. I thought my ears were going to bleed. Ian, what did you think of Rich Eisen, Kurt Warner on Sunday morning?
Well, I think Kurt does a fine job. Honestly, I kind of like a little bit of a change-up when Rich Eisen and those guys do it, kind of like a regular kind of guy, just talking about the game. and not so always professional about the play-by-play. And, you know, he kind of was acting a little bit like a fan, like, what is he doing back there? And, oh, it's still taking another sack. I don't know. I kind of like it.
I think he stinks, but I don't think he stinks as bad as that NBC broadcast of the Notre Dame game on Saturday. Chris Collinsworth's kid, gotta go. You know, if you want to put him on the Scarbini State game, that's fine. That's your business. But we have enough broadcasters out there that can do a better job than that bullcrap in Notre Dame versus USC crew that we had. Oh, my God. And so I think that was so horrible on Saturday night that I didn't mind it on Sunday morning, because even though it wasn't very good, I know it can be much worse because it was much worse on Saturday night. One texter texts in and says, I expect Levis to be 10 times better than Willis. And I told you before the season I have concerns, but I do not want to punt on the season. I know Willis cannot help this team win for at least 2 to 3 weeks, and Levis has to be better than Willis. So here's what I would say as far as because somebody else asked me, they said, okay, so what do you do if Tannehill can't go? You know, you think that offensive line is so bad and you're afraid of getting him ruined, but he probably gives you a better chance to win than Willis. So what are you going to do? And I would probably start Willis, even though I really wouldn't want to. Because if Levis does well, and again, it's the Falcons, it's going to be hard to take him out of the lineup if he's your quarterback of the future. But he's not as good as Tannehill. And Vrabel's already said, like, Tannehill's going to be, if he's healthy, he's the quarterback. Because he knows how much better Tannehill is than Levis. So that's a tough spot to be in. But the second part is, the most important thing, like for the future of the franchise, is Will Levis's development. So if I'm scared to death of this line ruining him, then I'm not going to play him against the Falcons. In fact, you know, Vrabel was asked about missing the camp reps yesterday. Joe asked him about, you know, how important was it that he missed the camp reps when he got hurt in the preseason. And Vrabel told you yesterday, Ian, if you could, Vrabel told you yesterday that Will Levis isn't ready.
Those preseason reps are critical, but I've also, you know, seen some really good practice reps, seen stuff through camp, and then just didn't feel like it was didn't feel like he was ready to go into games under those circumstances. You know, seen a more comfortable player, just a more comfortable person, a rookie. You know, it's a unique situation. And coming in this league as a quarterback with an existing quarterback with a player in his second year, that's unique, and I think he's handled that well. I think his comfort level and just being around here has improved.
He just told you, with a bunch of window dressing around it, I didn't think he was ready. That's why I think Willis is the backup, because they don't want to throw Levis out there before they think he's ready, and they don't want to ruin him. So Trevor will join us next with this question for Trevor Maddich. Can this line ruin Will Levis? Because a lot of you are just not concerned about that at all. We'll do that next. Stillman and Company, 615-737-1025. Trevor joins us, 1025-1063 The Game.
All the big plays.
Rebound, try out in front, and Saros covers it up.
All the big stories.
Andrew Burnett reportedly hired as the next head coach of the Predators.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 1025 and 1063.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Comparing goalies to running backs.
46-27 Vanderbilt.
Does this group of players need more? The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Some people put off things that need doing. Not you. Harbor Freight knows you're a today's the day kind of person. And I'm on it kind of person. A bring it kind of person. So if you're rolling up your sleeves today and you don't want to overpay for tools, you're a Harbor Freight kind of person. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Teddy's Tavern, downtown's newest bar with an old Nashville feel, is conveniently located across the street from Bridgestone Arena and just blocks away from the pedestrian bridge. Get a taste of the new brunch menu to fuel your Titans Day pride on game day. Pre-game specials from 9 a.m. till kickoff when the Titans play at home include 2-for-1 draft beers, mimosas, and Bloody Marys. Teddy's Tavern is where you want to be before every Titans home game, so come downtown early and meet me at Teddy's.
Hey there, are you seeking relief? Perhaps you would just like to enhance your day or night. Did you know there are legal THC products available right here in Tennessee? I'm serious. You can have legal THC products shipped to the comfort of your home. Yup, comfort in cannabis is only one website away. Visit greentreescompany.com. Green Trees with a Z.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. If you have some things around your home that you've been putting off fixing, like your regular HVAC maintenance or a clogged bathroom drain, Hiller has some big discounts this month. When the temperature drops and you start using your heater for the first time, you do not want to be dealing with breakdown issues, and this month, Hiller is offering half off HVAC tune-up. And Hiller is bringing back their $99 drain cleaning special. These deals only last this month, so be sure to call today. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds of Falls and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
He knows Nashville sports.
And you've got Mike Vrabel in what feels like sort of a back against the wall game. They're at their best.
And he's not scared to tell it like it is.
They need to go on the road and win a game.
He is Outkick's Chad Withrow.
16 5-star players and 52 4-star players.
Withrow joins Stillman and Company every Friday at 5. Brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
They still have all of the talent.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Vanderbilt football head coach Clark Lee. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company again live at Bridgestone Arena. Preds tonight against the Edmonton Oilers. Ryan Tannehill, same injury as last year with the ankle sprain. Titans in a world of hurt at 2-4. And with that, it is 4:30 on a Tuesday, which means we are joined by Trevor Maddich, ESPN. As always on our program, Trevor is presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters, and by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports. Trevor, let's start with this. It's a question I have had for you. Really I've been thinking about it all day. This offensive line's bad. We all know that. If Will Levis goes in there, could they ruin him? He's the quarterback of the future. Could they ruin Will Levis by putting him behind this horrendous offensive line? I think Trevor's muted. But I do wonder that. Go ahead, Trevor.
Yeah, sorry about that. They absolutely could ruin him by putting him in under these circumstances. But I think it's less the line that would ruin him than it would be the play calling that would ruin him. The line can't protect him. And so if they go in and run the same kinds of plays that they're running with Tannehill, then they're asking Will Levis to do at the highest level what NFL quarterbacks need to do to protect themselves the most. That is to read the defense, know where the ball needs to go, and get it out quickly. That's why it's hard to hit Tom Brady, because the ball's out of his hands right now because he knows where to go with it, and he goes there with quick decisions. And Levis is not in a position to protect himself in that way. And so he would end up developing bad habits. He would drop back to throw, and as he would get hit over and over again, as he would have the pressure coming way sooner than it should over and over again, he would now develop the habit of looking down at the rush and trying to avoid the rush rather than keeping his eyes up, trusting his protection, and going through his progressions. He would be looking for a quick outlet all the time the first time. And these are all habits that he would then have to unlearn later for him to then relearn the right habits. Now, that's if the offensive coordinator gives him the kinds of game plans that Tannehill has had, because there are ways to game plan it that would actually help him out.
So do you think in this instance with Levis that we know Malik Willis has his limitations, but that the Titans are making the right decision given how bad the line is and how bad everything else is to keep Levis off the field this year?
Well, the line is just as bad for Willis as it is for Levis, right?
Sure.
And I think what they do with Levis will tell you what their intentions are in a lot of ways. I mean, it seems to make sense to me, depending on how long Tannehill is out, to keep Willis as the starter because he knows the offense, right? He knows his teammates a lot better. He's in better position to give the other guys a chance at least to have some success. And the first thing with that is don't make the big mistake. I mean, Willis got sacked a bunch of times, but he didn't turn it over. So, yay. Could you count on that with Levis if he were in there under similar circumstances as Willis was in at the end of the Ravens game? And so I can see Willis starting and then having a package here and there for Levis to go in for a series or so occasionally during the game to kind of get his feet wet and see if he's able to handle that. And if he's able to handle that, maybe give him a little bit more. Keep in mind that last year, the Washington Commanders may have had a bit of a template for this. I mean, they had a quarterback in Sam Howell that they didn't know if he could play or not. And so they were out of the playoffs, the last game of the regular season. They just started the kid. They said, okay, well, fine, you go in. Let's see what you can do. And he did enough to develop enough faith that he carried that through to a starting position at the beginning of this year. And so I can see if the Titans decide the season is over, if Tannehill can't go, that they would want to work Levis in. But I wouldn't just put him in as a starter unless he showed in small packages from time to time that he could handle little bites before I give him bigger bites.
Trevor Madish is with us. Trevor, one of the big arguments here is about how much to blame Tannehill for the 2-4 start the Titans have. How much blame do you think Ryan Tannehill deserves?
Not much. Not much. I mean, he really didn't have a whole lot of chance. The running game has not been going well, so the play action pass isn't as effective as it should be. His drop back protection has been non-existent, especially when Dillard was in there at left tackle. We'll see how Nicholas Petit-Frere does. He did some pretty good things against the Ravens, but we'll see how it goes. And then, so he was in a situation that was difficult. Then when you add to the fact that the guy that should be one of his top receivers, Treylon Burks, has had injury issues, and then the other receivers have a habit of either dropping passes or not getting open, what in the world do you want Tannehill to do more than he's already doing? And unless he's Steve Young back there, unless he's Randall Cunningham and he can run around like crazy like a running back, then you're asking him to make magic. And there's just too many problems with the offense to ask him to overcome them all with the way that he plays.
Trevor, how bad is this offensive line now that you've seen them for 6 weeks? And is there any formula to get themselves out of this?
Yeah, they're pretty bad. They're kind of awful as a group. I think there are some little shining moments in there, and there's some things you could build off of. I think right tackle Chris Hubbard that they signed off the street he's been performing better than I expected him to. He's actually one of the more effective offensive linemen they have. He was just on the street waiting for a phone call, for goodness sake. I think left guard Peter Skoronski, when he's healthy, has a chance to be very good. He has his moments. He gets overpowered from time to time. He'll miss a block from time to time. But overall, you can see that this guy has got the building blocks. Nicholas Petit-Frere actually made me encouraged at left tackle. He missed a bunch of blocks, especially at the end of the game when Willis kept on getting sacked. A lot of the times that was because he was either beat or just flat out bowled back into the quarterback. But there were other times when he set a good edge. In other words, when the pass rusher was trying to come around the corner. When Andre Dillard was at left tackle, it was almost a guarantee that corner was going to be soft and it was going to be a pressure. The quarterback was going to have to move. Whereas Petit-Frere did a much better job in general, not every time, of making that corner more stout. He also, from a run blocking standpoint, was more aggressive. Whereas Dillard would sort of fit up with the guy and then kind of lean against him. You saw Petit-Frere trying to shove the guy on Derrick Henry's 15-yard touchdown over left tackle. Petit-Frere stepped out to block the end man on the line. And instead of just shielding him out there, he drove him. I mean, he pushed him. He drove him and created extra space. And that was important because the left guard, Peter Skoronski, actually fell down on the block. He was blocking a defensive tackle. Center came over. They collided a bit. Skoronski was on the ground with the defender on his feet in front of him. Skoronski stood up and kept blocking. But the fact that the left tackle, Nicholas Petit-Frere, was aggressive in driving that guy outside created space enough for Henry to be able to get through there anyway. It was a 15-yard touchdown. And then there were other plays that he had in the running game, especially where he just looks like he wants to to just destroy the guy he's run blocking against physically. He doesn't do it very often. He does occasionally, but it's a big difference to watch the way he does it than to watch the way Andre Dillard did it, which is to say Dillard just sort of wants to fit up and Petit Frere wants to move the guy. And so, if he continues to develop now, at least you'll have an improvement from what Dillard had been doing.
So no love for Brewer or Brunskill.
Brunskill is fighting as hard as he can, but he has his share of letdowns. And that's a problem when you've got other guys that have their share of letdowns. They just all start taking turns. Brewer, bless his heart, I love him when he's outside on the perimeter. When he's out on screens, he has some of the most beautiful pancakes you'll see. In this game, he had one where he just flattened the guy flat onto his back out in space on a screen pass downfield. He had one in the game before as well. I love that. The problem is that's not his primary job. His primary job is to keep that 330-pound nose guard from pushing him back. And he just doesn't have the sand to be able to do it because he's so light.
Trevor, what's wrong with the defense?
They can't cover anybody. I mean, you see Kevin Byard back there running around desperately trying to cover for mistakes of other people, right? And so you'll see receivers are open, they catch the ball, they're running down the field, and then Byard shows up in the screen, and everybody says, Byard should have covered him better. But actually it was somebody else, and Byard was coming in trying to fix it, right? And so the corners are just not covering well enough. This is a very good pass rushing defense. And they've got multiple guys that can get after the passer. I don't know what their stats are right now, where they rank in the NFL in terms of that side of it, which probably is a little bit lower than it should be because the offense doesn't give the defense a lead to play with, which is when you get a lot of your sacks because quarterbacks are dropping back to try to catch up. But the problem right now is that the corners aren't covering. And that's a fundamental issue that if it doesn't get fixed, there's nothing else that can be done. And it's really hard to fix that within a season. The only thing you could really do is start going to a soft zone and let them make the catches and then rally to tackle them and hope that it takes them 10 plays to get down and into scoring range and you can stop them before they score a touchdown, because that's the only real way to fix a group of corners that are just not covering.
Trevor, I want you to shoot me straight here. At 2-4, do you think the Titans should give up on the season? Do you think they should tear this down and trade Henry and trade Byard and trade Autry and just, stick Levis out there and see where it goes?
Well, give up on the season? Absolutely not. I mean, 2-4, there's 11 games to go. And there's a lot of things that could happen. Positive for the Titans, negative for other teams in the division. A lot of things could happen. But when you talk about trading, now we talk about individual players. And when you talk about trading, it makes me sick to my stomach to even think this way. But as a thought exercise, if they were to trade Derrick Henry, it would probably make the most sense. The reason is that it'll take them a couple of years to get this offensive line rolling. A couple of years from now, do you really think Derrick Henry's your future at running back? So we start there. And he's got maximum value now compared to what he will probably have in 2 years. The second thing is there are, with Tajay Spears, it would be a different kind of running attack. And it wouldn't be as effective between the tackles. It just can't be because Derrick Henry makes his own hole a lot of the time. But there are things that Spears can do, especially now when they change into even more throws to the running back out of the backfield and things like that. But the value of Henry right now in a potential trade is that there are a couple of teams that are contenders that might think they need a running back. I mean, Cleveland, Nick Chubb's out for the season. And then San Francisco, McCaffrey got hurt. I don't know how long he's going to be out, but Curtis Samuel is hurt. I don't know how long he's going to be out. But you don't want McCaffrey to be your 30-touch guy anyway, because he's he's a strong guy. He can run between the tackles, but you want to preserve his ability to make big plays out in space, and you don't want that to be diminished by pounding him. It's like a boxing match where a boxer just goes to the body for the first 4 rounds, then he goes to the head, right? Well, it wears him down to take all those hits to the body. You don't want that to happen to McCaffrey. And so he'll be back, I guess, at some point. But if the 49ers had Derrick Henry behind that line when it's fully healthy, with all the other playmakers that they have, or excuse me, it's Deebo Samuel out there. I said Curtis. If they had Henry blasted downhill behind one of the most physical offensive lines in the game, and then the skilled people on the perimeter and all the speed that they have, I mean, this is a team that will increase their odds of winning a Super Bowl. And I think it would be worth it for the 49ers to trade for Derrick Henry and have him for a couple of years and try to get one Super Bowl, maybe two. And I think it'd be worth it for the Browns to do it too. And so when you look at where these teams are, if I got trade offers for Derrick Henry, if I'm the Titans, I would consider it, not because I don't love Henry, not because Henry isn't probably the best player on this football team along with Jeffrey Simmons, but because when you project down the road a couple of years, Henry is probably not going to be the guy.
But how much would that help, to that point? And I want to get to this on the other side. I do want your thoughts on UT's win over A&M and the Alabama game this week, and we'll do that next with Trevor. But I do wonder, if they trade Derrick Henry, how much would that hurt potentially Will Levis? We'll do that with Trevor next. Here's Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Nashville's Best Deals is a great place to save cash fast. Get up to half off or more on dining and entertainment at thegamenashville.com/deals. Check back often for new featured deals and save money now at thegamenashville.com/deals.
Whatever your destination in life, you can get there easier with a checking account from F&M Bank. At F&M, our checking accounts give you the tools you need to manage your money well, like our smart free checking account that's actually free. Because sometimes the basics are more than enough. Making lives better by making banking easier. Come see us at one of our branches or online at myfmbank.com. F&M Bank. Banking made easy. On purpose. Member FDIC.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is happening at Genesis Diamonds. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. For this event, you can choose from 5 years financing or get a free pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond earrings valued at $5,000. Imagine a luxury pre-owned ladies Rolex Datejust for just $199 a month, or a Sea Dweller or Submariner for just $299 a month. No waiting list, no games, just the watch you want at the great Genesis value price you deserve. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be offering top dollar for your Rolex, so you can buy, sell, or trade. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state. Get the timepiece of your dreams and take advantage of our special financing. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolexes. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit while supplies last. See store for details.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Exergen thermometers are proven to be more accurate than non-contact thermometers. With children back at school, keeping them healthy is important. Clinical studies have proven that non-contact thermometers are inaccurate and can miss fevers. Accuracy matters. That's why the Exergen thermometer is trusted and used by medical professionals. Exergen thermometers are available at Walgreens and other participating retailers. Choose a trusted and accurate thermometer for personal use. Learn more about why accuracy matters at Exergen.com.
Keeping it local.
The Titans get a big win. Well, Derrick Henry's on the field. It's like, all right, what's going to happen?
And fun.
Bad time to get Florida. They're going to be mad.
Oh, my goodness.
Every day, it's Chase McCabe.
I was sitting here going, I think I'm going to watch Batman 1989 tonight.
And Big Joe Dubin.
That's your plan for tonight? Probably, yeah. I need a night.
The Chase and Big Joe Show. Brought to you by Regal Realty Group. Weekdays at 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Trevor Maddox is with us, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters, in Twin Peaks, home of wall-to-wall sports and 29-degree drafts. So, Trevor, let's get right to this with Will Levis and Derrick Henry. You said if the right offer comes for Derrick Henry, you'd consider it because it's going to take the Titans a while to get their offensive line right. Wouldn't it be the most beneficial for Will Levis, though, if he's going to play this year, to have Derrick Henry with him?
Yes, but You're talking about right now compared to the future. And so would it be better for Will Levis if Henry's there now? Yeah. Yeah. And then this season ends, and then what? You're still in the same situation where it'll take you a couple of years to get the offensive line up to speed. And by that time, Henry is, he's not the future anymore. And by the way, let me just suggest this for people that think that this would be awful for Henry and unappreciative of Henry. Going to a place like the 49ers would probably be the best thing in the world for him. I mean, this is a team that is a Super Bowl contender. The Titans are not going to be a Super Bowl contender anytime in the productive career remaining for Derrick Henry. They're just not, unless they just catch lightning in a bottle. But the 49ers are. And they're a team, there are guys, I mean, McCaffrey came out from the Panthers, not a Super Bowl contender for a long time. Trent Williams, their left tackle, future Hall of Famer, came out from Washington on a Super Bowl contender now. Those guys are in a much better place. And I think, for people that love Derrick Henry, you'd almost wish that something could happen that would allow him to go out to a place like San Francisco and get a chance at a Super Bowl that would also be good for the long-term future of the Titans. For the short term, of course, it's not good. But we're talking about looking a year, 2, 3 down the road.
Trevor, how good was Tennessee's win, an ugly win against A&M on Saturday? How good was that for the Vols?
It was the win. That makes it good. It makes it great. Tennessee now, having that one behind them, is in great position to challenge Georgia for the SEC East Championship. Now, they got to beat Kentucky. They got to beat Kentucky, but they're in position. They only have one conference loss, and the way they're playing right now is totally different from the way they were playing last year. Last year was up-tempo, throw the ball down the field, quick strike, defense was back on the field, and they were giving up lots of points too, and off you go. It was a track meet. It was a lot of fun. This is run the ball, stop the run. I mean, don't look now, but the Tennessee Titans lead the SEC in rushing. They lead the SEC in rushing. Their passing attack is pretty pedestrian, and the defense is playing really well. And I think part of the reason the Tennessee defense has improved so much is because the offense now, whether it's accidental or not, is playing complementary football. Instead of either a quick touchdown or a quick off the field, the offense is now grinding out drives on the ground, and the defense is resting, and the opposing offense is having fewer drive opportunities. So all of a sudden, the complementary football is coming into play. And so they're in position now because of this win to continue a credible challenge. Now, again, like you said, they have to win. And I'm not making an assumption that they will or they won't. I'm just saying, had they lost this game, they would have been out of the division race, and it's still October.
Do you really think they could compete with Georgia with Joe Milton at quarterback? Because I don't want to say a college kid stinks because he's a college kid, but he's in his 9th year of college. He stinks.
Yeah, Joe Milton might be out of position at this point. He's just not been able to develop the nuance with that arm. We know he can throw it through a barn wall. The problem is if he's inside the barn, you're not sure which wall he's going to hit. And so that consistency of accuracy is the problem. But here's the thing, look at the competition. As of now, Kentucky doesn't throw the ball at all, right? They just can't throw the ball at all. Mm-hmm. Georgia just lost Brock Bowers. He's having surgery on a high ankle sprain. Now, I imagine he'll be back by the time we get into the stretch run of the season. I don't know if he'll be back by the time Tennessee plays them. But so far, the wide receiving group of Georgia has not been impressive. They've been okay, but they haven't been as impressive as I thought they would be based on the talent they brought in. I mean, they brought in through the transfer portal Dominic Lovett, the best receiver at Missouri. And he stepped up when Bowers was out last week and got 9 catches. So, yeah, good for him, but kind of quiet before that. They brought in Ra Thomas, Mississippi State's best wide receiver. He's been pretty quiet. Ladd McConkey's still there. He's a good possession receiver, but nothing dynamic. And so this is where Tennessee might be able to catch Georgia in a moment where the best player or one of the best players in the country, Brock Bowers, is not available to them. And that makes it more of a fair fight because nobody has a guy like Brock Bowers. Tennessee does it. But now, run the ball, stop the run, and you got a fair fight with the Bulldogs.
How do you feel about their fight this week with Alabama?
Well, it's the same way. I mean, when you look at the stats, they're very similar in terms of their offensive stats, their defensive stats, the sacks, and things like that. They're very similar.
Yeah, but Tennessee didn't play Texas.
No, they didn't play Texas. That's right. And that's fair. And that's why I say it's just stats. You have to be careful to say, yeah, their defense is just as good. Their offense is just as good. But the thing about Alabama is that they've got weaknesses you can exploit. One of those weaknesses is they've had injuries in the safety position, especially in the secondary, but other places too. And so you've got guys in and out of the lineup, in and out of practice. And Tennessee last year was very successful throwing the ball against Alabama. All they have to be is moderately successful this week in order for them to do what they need to do on the ground. The Alabama offensive line is still a work in progress. Huge guys, they're getting better, but if you get them to have to block in space, they're still not very good. And Jalen Milroe is getting better from a standpoint of his intermediate passes. But if you take away those deep passes, then Alabama does not have an edge with Milroe over Milton. It's kind of a wash in those two quarterbacks. Maybe even Milton might have an edge if you are able to back up the secondary and take away the deep passes for Alabama. So this is actually a very fair fight. Now it's up to Tennessee to execute. It's up to them to not freak out in the moment, and get freaked out by the environment. But I like their chances to win this game every bit as much as I like their chances to win it last year, but for different reasons.
So disappointing, Trevor, with A&M, with all the money they've spent on Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Petrino and all those players. I mean, was kind of Saturday the icing on the cake? I mean, they can't even get a first down. That, like, this Jimbo experiment, very costly experiment, may be coming to an end?
It may be. I mean, I think the way you described it is the way most people will see it. You can look deeper inside and see that their starting quarterback, Connor Wegman, is out with injury, and their backup's in. He's got very good backup, Max Johnson, but he didn't have a good game against Tennessee. Tennessee took that away from him. I mean, they overwhelmed him in the pocket. And the rushing attack for A&M basically went nowhere. Actually, it did go nowhere. They had 54 yards rushing. And Tennessee was able to grind out the run against a very good Texas A&M defense. I mean, that for all the problems A&M has, their defense, and especially their defensive front, is flat out legit. And Tennessee stood toe-to-toe with them and got the better of it when it came to the running game. And that's one of the reasons I think Tennessee has a chance, a good chance, actually, to win this game at Alabama if they can execute. But to me, the interesting thing from a fan standpoint at A&M is to see if things start to kind of melt down a little bit, what will happen with the egos in the coaching office? Because, Jimbo Fisher, the head coach, brought in Bobby Petrino to be the offensive coordinator. Bobby Petrino, as you know from Louisville days, he is one of the most polarizing and fascinating and dangerous coaches in college football. Okay, there you go. But he is very good at coordinating an offense. But if this offense continues to struggle and he starts to take incoming, is he going to put it out there that, hey, it's Jimbo Fisher, the head coach, is interfering with me? And then is Jimbo Fisher going to put it out there, oh, Bobby Petrino is, whatever? Then the egos could turn into tremendous theater. That's why I said at the beginning of the season that the Texas A&M Aggies are the Kardashians of the SEC.
Trevor Matich, as always, joining us on a Tuesday, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters, and by Twin Peaks, home of wall-to-wall sports and 29-degree drafts. Weekly check-in, Trevor. Who's the best team in the country?
Michigan. They haven't played anybody yet, but everybody Yep. If we're going to change it up, we're going with Georgia still. Well, no, not Georgia now. If we got to go with number 2, we got to go with, I guess you got to go with Oklahoma. Although I think Washington's probably better. It's tough. It's a jumble after Michigan.
I was encouraged by my Oregon Ducks, even though they lost. Dan Lanning lost his mind on Saturday. But to go in that atmosphere and to keep it as close as they, I'm not ruling my Ducks out, Trev.
No, the thing is, they lost that game, but they really deserved to win that game. I thought they played the better game. And it was a couple coaching decisions that put them in a bad position that the offense wasn't able to overcome. It was 3 4th downs is what it was. Mm-hmm. One was 4th and goal at the 3. They went for it instead of kicking a field goal at the end of the half. They didn't get it, so there goes 3 points. One was 4th and 3 at the 8. They went for it instead of kicking a field goal and didn't get it. And the other was 4th and 3 at midfield at the end to try to run out the clock. And they didn't get it. So Washington got the ball at midfield. It took them all of 2 plays to go down and score the game-winning touchdown. Although Oregon still had a chance to tie it up at the very end. So it was just such a close game, but not kicking a field goal on at least one of those 2 4th and 3s down by the goal line, a lot of people say was what cost them.
Trevor, great stuff. Appreciate you as always.
Thanks, Jared.
Yep, Trevor Maddich joining us on the program. Barry Trotz will join us right here at Bridgestone Arena, Predators general manager Barry Trotz. We'll do that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Join Robbie and Rexroad for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Time for the Preds Report.
Presented by Newton Nissan.
Max Hers in for Pete Weber with your Tuesday Preds Report. The Predators are back home tonight at Bridgestone Arena, hosting the Edmonton Oilers at 7 o'clock in the 4th game of the regular season. Pre-game coverage begins at 6 on the Predators radio network, and it is Oktoberfest night at Bridgestone Arena. We hope to see you down at the rink. The Predators are 1-2 so far this season and host the Oilers tonight, who are 0-2. Both losses for the Oilers are against the Canucks, 8-1 in the opener and 4-3 in their second game on Saturday night. It's the first game back in Smashville for former Preds defenseman Matthias Ekholm, who the Predators traded to Edmonton at last season's trade deadline. Preds and Oilers tonight at 7 at Bridgestone Arena and on the Regions Bank Nashville Predators Radio Network.
All the best car deals in Smashville start at Newton Nissan. Visit them at Newton Nissan of Gallatin or Newton Nissan South in Shelbyville.
This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Blue Raider fans, your home for all the MTSU football and men's basketball action is on 93.3 Classic Hits and 95.1 Classic Hits in the borough. Catch the action all season long with Chip Walters on the call. Go Blue Raiders!
Houston Clinic Orthopedics in Springfield at Northcrest Medical Center offers world-class orthopedic care. This location specializes in general orthopedics, arthroscopic surgery, sports medicine, hip, knee, and shoulder. Get back to enjoying life sooner by scheduling your appointment at tn.houston.com. Houston Clinic Orthopedics in Springfield is conveniently located at the Northcrest Medical Center. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
At Mercedes-Benz of Music City, a healthy and productive culture takes a day-to-day discipline. Here's Sam Cavett, General Manager, with a few thoughts.
Mercedes-Benz has its standard, and we have Dream Motor Group standards. They're definitely on the same level, but I feel like we challenge ourselves at least as much as Mercedes-Benz challenges us. It's a genuine motivation to take care of customers, and we see it in the customer reviews.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Penalty Box Radio Live is back. Join Alex Doherty and Sean Smith every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. for a full hour of local hockey talk, full analysis of the Nashville Predators. Honest hockey talk like you've come to expect from the Penalty Box Radio brand over the years. Penalty Box Radio is back home on 102.5 The Game for the 2023-2024 hockey season. For more, check them out at penaltyboxradio.com.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
79-52 Vanderbilt. I think he's going to coach up by Cheryl.
You're going to see more moves. The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Bridgestone Arena tonight, Preds. and Edmonton Oilers, 7 o'clock pregame in an hour. And we're joined now, as we are every week, by Predators General Manager Barry Trotz, brought to you by Gary Force Acura. Trotzy, good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing well.
All right, let's start right off the bat. Weekend, what do you think of your team?
We got lots of work to do. I think that two things. 5-on-5, you watch us play, it's a much different picture than I would say that you saw last year. On our special teams, we've got to tighten that up. We got to get something on the power play. We've got to get something on the penalty kill in terms of some key stops at key times. You think about we've given up 7 goals in 3 games. We've given up 4 power play goals, 2 penalty shot goals, which I actually phoned the league today and said, did I miss a memo or something?
Mm-hmm.
And then an empty net goal. So I think our 5-on-5 play has been good. We've created lots of chances. We've given up some as well, but I think we're playing faster. We're becoming more consistent in the new identity. As football terms, we've been a smash mouth running team, and we're trying to be a passing team, and it's a process, and we're going through the process. But the first 3 games, I felt, from our standpoint, other than one period, I thought we played pretty consistent through the rest. So I'll take that. And we played some pretty good teams, and we're playing another good one tonight with 2 of the best players, I think, in the National Hockey League.
Well, not just 2 of the best players in the National Hockey League, but 2 players that pretty much score 15 goals every time they play the Predators.
Yeah.
In McDavid and Draisaitl. I do want to go back. You brought up the penalty shots. What did the league say when you called them? And because I thought the one that Shin took in the opening night, they're going to call that.
Yeah. Well, I thought the one. I always talk about separation. Does the player really have separation from everybody else, or is there a little bit of a battle on the puck, or if the defender is purely trying to take a penalty so that maybe to get just a penalty versus a penalty shot. So, but there's been a number of them every night. There's 1 or 2 in the league. I think teams are trying to stretch the zone a little bit. They're calling it a little tighter that way, and they're getting more liberal with the penalty shots. So. From our standpoint, we got to take a few less penalties.
Barry, is it wrong for me to grade this team on a curve? I know, you lose the 2 games. You lose in Tampa where, I felt like they treated you guys like you were the Washington Generals, playing the Harlem Globetrotters. And I felt like the game was kind of officiated that way. And I don't want to make excuses, but the Boston Bruins last year were the best team in the NHL. So you're playing these 2 teams, and you gave them 2 dogfights. You win at home against the Kraken, who were in the Western Conference Final last year. Honestly, I'm pretty excited about it. Is it wrong to grade this team on a curve right now?
Well, I think I would grade it every day on 2 things. Are they playing fast? Are they playing to the new identity on a consistent basis? And are they giving their total effort? And I felt that way in the first 3 games. It wasn't anybody through the lineup. There's a couple guys I would like to see play better, like everybody else. But for the most part, I would say I would give our group a really good grade based on the transition that we're in, based on the opponent, and the difficulty of some of the games with all the power plays, the penalty kills, and what have you. So I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty excited for forging our identity that we want. And some of our young guys still haven't popped, so that's good. They're going to pop.
So that's the exciting part. Because you can say it's good. You could also say we want them to pop now, but that's okay. What about Colton Sissons? And I ask because you brought up last week when I talked about some of the guys that have been here for a while, Yossi and Forsberg, and everybody wants to see the new guys, and O'Reilly's looked great, and Gus Nyquist has had a nice little role here, and the young guys. But Sissons had a beautiful backhander the other night against Seattle, got on the board the other night against Boston. You brought him up last week as a guy that's been here for a while that perhaps we could see a little bit more out of. So far, he's done it. Where's that coming from?
I think it's coming from the feeling more important within the group. Colton is one of our guys that is in the primary leadership group. He is a guy that will be wearing an A. I'm sure if one of our 3 captains goes down, he is just a good pro, and that's the reason where you never hear me talk about, hey, Colton Sissons, trade this, trade that. You don't hear that. I have a lot of I'll say admiration for good pros, and Colton is a good pro, and he's been excellent to this point in the season. And I'm what you see night in and night out is what you get night in and night out from Colton.
So I have a lot of envy every time Edmonton comes in here, not because McDavid and Draisaitl will score about 9 times each per game. Hopefully you guys will change that
Hopefully
tonight.
we do, yeah.
But just the speed with which they play with.
Yeah.
And the problem is, in this league, the only real way to get that is to stink. And this team is never going to be that bad, especially with the goalie. So when you watch guys like that, you've coached some of them before.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get this organization? You want to play with a speed game. How do you get this organization to be like what we're going to see tonight with Edmonton?
Well, I think it starts from the draft process. If we're going to draft players, let's make sure that they have a certain identity. I've talked to our scouts about speed and skill, and speed and skill. And so I think you look at the draft this year, we've got Molendyk. I can tell you right now, honestly, if it was up to Andrew Burnett, he might be here based on the way he had he played through training camp, whatever. But I understand that there's a growth that a young player, he's 18 years old, physically he's not there, mentally he's not there quite yet, but I expect him to push for a job next year. So I sort of took it out of Bruno's hands because we've got enough young guys that I think can get through this year and then puts Tanner in a better spot to be an impact guy. And he's an elite skater, which is something that we don't have a lot of. I think with Matthew Wood, he's in college. He's a big body. He can score, and he has a really good skill level. So I'm hoping that the mandate that was set out for our scouts, they went out and did that. I got to see a young prospect in Felix Nielsen in the summer, and he's an underage player that is trying out for the World Junior team, but he's probably a next year guy based on his age, because it's usually a 19, 20-year-old tournament. But his skill level in tight spaces is really good. He's got exceptional vision and exceptional hands. So I'm hoping that those type of drafts we'll see in the future. From the pro side, we're talking about getting more speed, continue to do that, push the envelope, and try to find some skill guys.
So along those lines, I know that you can't talk about players on other teams, but Vancouver is perhaps looking to move forward, and the Predators have
actually two that I know of.
And they already made a move earlier today. And so are you interested, even at this point in the year with a young team? You guys have been linked to being interested.
We're going to be
Garland.
linked to everything because we have cap space. And I'm sure we're going to get linked to stuff that we're not even linked to. But we're conscious of it. We're also conscious of the ability to use our cap space and weaponize it at the right time as well. It's easy to go, hey, we can get this guy, and then you start blocking up the road for some of your young guys. And that's where I've got to balance out the coach competitiveness to the long-term plan. The long-term plan is to get our young guys a road, develop them, continue with them, and if we find the right trade, we're going to do that. And right now, I haven't found the right trade in my mind, and right now, that's organizationally, that's probably where it sits. If it's something that myself and my staff feel really, really strong, then we're going to pursue it hard, and we're going to try to pull it off. If we're lukewarm on it, let's just not do it just to do it.
I mean, but isn't this kind of early in the year for big trades? I mean, we're not even in November yet. U.S. Thanksgiving is a month and a half away.
Yeah. Well, I think what's happened in the league, and I'm just probably an inside trading a little bit here, is that around the league there's some teams that are really up against it cap-wise. They're playing shorthanded. They're looking for ways to get out of those situations. So that's why I think you hear a lot of those, those trade rumors, and a lot of them are started by them, their agents, whoever. But at the same time, you're just not going to give your cap space away for free. There's a price to pay for acquiring players, and there's a price to pay for getting rid of players. And until those, I'll say those prices are met, then there's not going to be any trading.
Where are we? Barry Trotz is with us, presented by Gary Force Acura. Where are we with Luke Shin?
Actually, he's injured. He's going to be out for a little bit here, a lower body injury. So his time frame, I'll have a better idea probably tomorrow or the next day in terms of where he's going to be at.
What do you make of like a player like Matthias Ekholm, one that got traded, that you used to coach, and he's going to be making a return today, and the fans are going to get up and they're going to give him a big hand, and
then should.
And he played here for so long, and yet at the end of the day, I think that was a trade that, quite frankly, you guys were proud of to be able to make. I think Edmonton has reaped the benefits of having made that trade. Kind of what do you make of what goes into that, and then maybe even the element of the return here and the personal element of it?
Well, I think let's just go back to the trade deadline. I mean, obviously Matthias is a great player. He's almost a legacy player in Nashville. He's played here. He's had great success. He's lived here. He's been part of the community. He's been a Predator. At the trade deadline, the decision was made in where we were going is in terms of a franchise, what we wanted to do. Edmonton was extremely interested, so we made the trade. And out of that trade, we've got Tyson Barrie in return, which is at that moment they had to move some cap space to do the trade. So he was a player that we felt could help us now and possibly in the future here, and has some asset value. We picked up a young Molendyk with the first-round pick this year.
And it does seem like you and Andrew Burnett are in love with him.
Yes, we both. As a general manager and a coach, I can honestly say we love the player. That's why we were anxious to sign him quickly, and we were anxious to see him in training camp, and he did very, very well. But I have to make the right decision, and the right decision is for the long term for him. And then we've got Reed Schaefer, who I can tell you, if any prospect that we have, he gets as many calls as anybody from other teams trying to acquire him. He's a big body. He's got a real good skill set, and hopefully he's got a little of that edge.
Barry Trotz is with us, Predators general manager here on the program, again presented by Gary Force Acura. So now where you sit at this point in the season, last one for you, where you guys sit at this point in the season, how long until you really feel like you'll have a good feel for what your team is and what their identity, not on the ice, but maybe the cohesion as a group together, what that's going to be like, and kind of the first day of school vibes are out the window a little bit?
I can say from, I can't give you a defined answer, but I can give you an answer based on probably experience of watching my own teams and watching other teams. Usually it's 20 to 30% of the season. You see right now, and it's across the league, there's top teams that are maybe struggling out of the gates a little bit. Usually that's not uncommon. Usually those teams know that they're going to get going. They got enough talent. They're going to get to the playoffs, and so they tend to have a little less urgency into their season at the start. That's why you always hear the 10-game rumors of coaches being under fire all the time. But those teams usually get it turned around. Teams that are made a lot of changes, like us, we've made personnel changes. We've got younger. Systematically, we've made some major changes, coaching changes. Obviously, myself and management. All that being said, you see teams that are going through that process, and I can tell you from my own experience when I coached in Washington and I coached in the island. Both those processes really I didn't feel like they took hold till about I think in Washington about the 15 to 17 game mark, and then on the island, it took a little bit longer. It was probably more in that 20 to 25, and then once we got our identity, we really got rolling in both situations. So I always say about that 20 game mark is probably where you sort of become who you are a little bit, and how much you're going to improve or how much you're going to flatten out. It sort of gets identified a little bit there.
See, I feel bad now because, a
don't
lot
feel
of
bad.
times. Well, so what happens is a lot of times people say, well, you say that on the radio, but you wouldn't say that to their face. And every time I hear that, I'm like, I feel like saying something on the radio is saying something to somebody's face because, everybody heard it. I've seen 3 games so far.
Yeah.
I think this team's going to make the playoffs this year. Like, I walked into this with no expectation this season, and I saw the kind of fight, and we talked to you before the game on Tuesday. But I really enjoyed the game on Tuesday. Like, that was a fun team to root for, even though they lost. And the ESPN commentary was a little over the top for a lot of us in terms of the Tampa praise. But, I mean, like, I watched the fight there, and I saw, again, the energy against a really good Seattle team, like a tough Seattle team.
Seattle's
the other night.
I consider Seattle one of the fastest teams in the National Hockey League, and they knocked off Colorado. They were a threat last year, so I was really impressed with what we did that game.
So 3 games in, I'm like, I think this team's going to make the playoffs this year. But then you're like, maybe we should talk about game 15, 20, something like that instead. So now I feel bad.
No, don't feel bad. I think I was the one that said it. I can't tell you how good we're going to be, or I can't tell you how bad we are, because the process has to start. You have to have the buy-in. You have to have all things go the right way for you. You don't know the injuries, all that. I've coached for 23 years, and I believed going into it. I didn't know if I was going to win a hockey game. Lo and behold, you end up winning a lot of hockey games, and my resume says that. But you never feel that way until it takes hold, and you get your identity, and you get into the thick of the season and the dog days and all that. And then you need some things to go right. You need the right guys to be playing at the top of their game. You need the injury bug not to ravish you, all that. But if you ask me, I think I'm with you. When people ask me, I said I really don't know, but I think we could be sneaky good if we can stay healthy and we can get a really good buy-in and we can get our identity out there and stay consistent with it, then we can be really sneaky good.
Barry Trotz, the man, joining us as always, presented by Gary Force Acura. Barry, thank you. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Stillman and Company rolls along, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is happening at Genesis Diamonds. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. For this event, you can choose from 5 years financing or get a free pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond earrings valued at $5,000. Imagine a luxury pre-owned ladies Rolex Datejust for just $199 a month, or a Sea Dweller or Submariner for just $299 a month. No waiting list, no games, just the watch you want at the great Genesis value price you deserve. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be offering top dollar for your Rolex, so you can buy, sell, or trade. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state. Get the timepiece of your dreams and take advantage of our special financing Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolexes. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit while supplies last. See store for details.
October 28th is Drug Take-Back Day. STARS, Nashville's regional overdose prevention specialists, have partnered with several local businesses to provide the community with a fun event for a good cause. Join us October 28th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Heartland Park, 3101 Heartland Drive, Nashville. We'll have teams available to collect your unused or expired medications for safe disposal. You'll be entered to win prizes. Plus, we'll have special treats for anyone in costume. This project is funded under a grant contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
Introducing Gen Y Hitch, the ultimate towing solution for the modern adventurer. Whether you're hauling a boat, RV, or heavy cargo, Gen Y Hitch is your dependable companion. With its innovative design and cutting-edge technology, it delivers unrivaled stability and safety on the road. Crafted with precision engineering and built to last, Gen Y Hitch ensures a smooth and secure towing experience. Say goodbye to the hassle of traditional hitches and embrace the future of towing. You can find our full range of products and accessories at GenYHitch.com. Upgrade to Gen Y Hitch and tow with confidence. Your journey starts here.
It's time to celebrate this fall and unleash the beast. Monster Brewing proudly presents to you Beast Unleashed. 0 caffeine, 0 sugar, all the adult beverage fun. The Beast is unleashed with great taste, bold familiar flavors, and 6% alcohol. Go wild with Mean Green, White Haze, Peach Perfect, and Scary Berries. Don't fear the Beast. Enjoy Beast Unleashed at your next tailgate or football party. Drink responsibly. Must be 21 and over.
Klein Tools are new at Lowe's, pros. Lowe's knows you want top brands and quality products, and Klein Tools delivers. Right now, get the Klein 3-piece ModBox mobile workstation for $319.94 and the Klein 5-piece cushion grip screwdriver set for just $34.97, both exclusively at Lowe's. Shop the largest selection of Klein Tools, the highest quality tool brand at Lowe's. Because Lowe's knows tools, Lowe's knows pros.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame and on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah, and like us on Facebook, too. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
How do you build a good power play? You know, as you assemble the latest group of personnel here, what's
if we
on
can
your list?
if we can get McDavid and Draisaitl, I think that'd be a good.
When you
start.
do.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. No, I think we just seem a little bit out of sync. I think cohesiveness is such an important factor. And I'm not overly familiar with these players. It's kind of my responsibility to figure out where they fit. So it's a little bit of a trial and error process right now. And
there you go. That was Andrew Burnett talking about the power play. And I got to say, maybe I'm just a homer. I don't know. But what I love is the fact that when it comes to Burnett and Barry and everybody else, it's like, hey, it's going to take some time, folks. Like, Andrew Burnett's like, I got to learn these players. Barry's like, it's going to take some time before we get our identity in here, before we figure out exactly who and not like we're going to play hard every day. And the coach, it's like, it's nothing happened, no excuses, no. I mean, it just kind of feels like they just can't tell you what's what, which I appreciate, which is why, I was kind of saving this take, and I wasn't expecting to give it to Barry, when he was sitting here. It's 3 games in. I think this team's going to make the playoffs this year. And I told you guys on Tuesday before they played Tampa, and I said, I have no idea what this team's going to be. I was probably 51% make the playoffs, 49% not make the playoffs. It's obvious to everybody here that the organization's number one goal right now is not making the playoffs. It's not, we have to make the playoffs this year. There's no sentiment of, if we make the playoffs this year, anything can happen, which is usually what you hear from a team that is probably going to barely make it and then hope that they can get in and win, a round or not that. Here it's like, yeah, let's talk about the young guys, and I'm trying to keep Tanner Mullendijk down and things like that. But I just kind of thought they'd make the playoffs simply because they let go of a coach that I didn't think was a very good coach. They've got some fresh blood in here. They got rid of some of the guys that, quite frankly, we were tired of waiting on, and they brought in some new guys that have won some games. And I thought that all of that combined would be enough to get them into the playoffs. But I didn't know that. So then I watch them play the first game, and they're supposed to be treated like the sacrificial lamb to get just absolutely hammered by Tampa. You got a Tampa broadcast crew doing the ESPN game, a guy who lives in Tampa, 2 guys that played for Tampa. You've got the rapper Big Boy opening up there. You play in the first game of the season. You got a packed building, and they gave you a chance. I mean, they gave you a real chance. Then they play Seattle, who's in the Western Conference Final last year. You heard Barry say that's one of the fastest teams in the league, and they beat them. And then they go to Boston, the best team maybe ever last year. Now, look, without Bergeron, without Krejci, but still, the Bruins, and they give you a game. And so, as I said, they're going to be competitive in every game this season. If you're competitive with Tampa and you're competitive with Boston, and you're going to be competitive in every game during the season, and with their goalie and their coach, they'll win enough of those games to make the playoffs in a sport where half the league makes the playoffs. Now, are they going to win in the playoffs? A team like Edmonton tonight who comes in here, they need to win in the playoffs. They've got McDavid and Draisaitl in their prime. They need to win right now. People get fired if they don't win right now. The Predators aren't that way. So there's not the pressure to make the playoffs. There's not the pressure to win in the playoffs. But I think it's going to grow organically. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I know it's 3 games. But again, I went into the season thinking, they'll make the playoffs. And then after that, who knows? But now that I've seen them play and I've seen the effort and I know the goalie and I know the coach and I know how everyone's like, hey, it's still a work in progress here, Jared. I'm like, all right, I can live with that. I can do that. I like that. Boy, a bunch of you have texted in and our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. But a lot of you are talking about, man, we love the Barry Trotz interviews. Hey, man, we're just going to keep doing them. By the way, Ian, what'd you think about Barry it felt like he shut down that Connor Garland talk.
Well, yeah, I mean, he kind of made a good point there about the cap space. And they're going to be rumored in a lot of these trade rumors just because there's not a lot of teams that have the cap space who can make the roster moves that the Preds can make. So I see where he's going there. And, just every name, it's going to be a bit much.
Well, can I start on the Connor Garland thing where Elliot Freeman mentioned the Predators as a fit for them? And to your point, maybe they'll get mentioned for everybody. He falls into that category of players I don't want the Predators to trade for because I don't know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Is it bad that I don't know who Connor Garland is?
I mean, he played for Arizona before this, so he's been in some smaller markets. So, I don't think he ever made their all-star team. He played for Arizona. He's a smaller guy. He's kind of fast.
So he's not a difference maker.
Not really, no.
So then I don't want him, And I think that's what Barry was alluding to when he was like, yeah, but if I trade for some of these guys, I got some spots for some of the other guys.
Yeah, you'd have to sit, Tomasino and put him in that spot. And I'm not sure you want to do that.
We're not interested in that.
Yeah.
On that one. And then, boy, I tell you, they love that Mullendijk kid. Holy crap.
Seems like it.
I mean, they love him, and they love Evangelista. And, I mean, they love that Mullendijk kid. At least that's what I took from the Barry thing. How about Barry saying Andrew Burnett wanted to keep Mullendijk on the team, and he sent him down?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, some disagreements, I suppose. But, hey, playing the long game sometimes.
It reminded me of when Bill O'Brien traded 3 first-round picks for Laramie Tunsil. And Floyd said, and, Floyd and Bill O'Brien were friends because they worked together in New England. And Floyd was like, this is why you don't want the coach to be the general manager, because the coach is always like, oh, no, we need the players, trade the picks. And the general manager is the one who has to hold up the stop sign like, no, we're not doing that. And it sounds like Barry's kind of in the same boat on the Mullendijk thing. Who you got in exchange for Matthias Ekholm, who you'll be playing today? 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Somebody texted in and said, of course the Predators are going to make the playoffs this year because they gave up their season tickets. Well, you had to have some faith in Barry Trotz now. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to weigh in on the program. We'll give something away in the next segment. Plus, this whole Vingan just called me a bobo, Ian.
For what? Oh, for picking the Preds to make the playoffs?
I mean, don't you think the Predators are going to make the playoffs, Vingan? Ian?
I do. I'm not sure if they're going to make the playoffs. I'm not 100% sold on that.
Oh, this team's going to make the playoffs. I really want to. I really want to guarantee it.
Ooh, that's an early guarantee.
Oh, it's such an early guarantee. Let's get into November. Even for me, I'm reckless with this crap, but let's wait.
Let's wait until
after
November
3 games.
Huh?
I guarantee. Well, it's just every game's going to be close.
The games will be close, but the division, the division is going to be very up and down and very close. A lot of very evenly kind of matched teams in the West and the Central.
I think they're going to make the playoffs, but I'm not going to guarantee it yet. By the way, I guarantee you that Sean Henry or Bill Wickett or somebody's going to say, do not do that. Because, the Predators around here think that when I guarantee something that it never happens, even though I'm almost always right with my guarantees. They're probably all worried about that. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. So, everybody wants Will Levis to play. And it feels like Ryan Tannehill is not going to play on Sunday, the next Sunday after this Sunday, against the Atlanta Falcons, which means it's Levis or Willis. But I want to just put the one, because I don't want to see Willis play anymore, but the one thing that I would say that might have me lean Willis, maybe. We'll discuss. We'll do that next. Stillman & Company, 615-737-1025, 1025-1063, the game.
Every day we are live and local.
It will help them get better players. I'm really excited about this defensive front.
And your source for Nashville sports.
They had missed the playoffs.
Those players may end up being practice squad guys.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 1025 and 1063, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
Go big or go home. Unless you're part of Smashville. Because here, going big means you are home. Big hits, big names, Big history. Big energy. Welcome to Smashville.
Preds fans, join us as we take on the San Jose Sharks this Saturday, October 21st at Bridgestone Arena. Secure tickets today at NashvillePredators.com.
It's electric in Smashville. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 429 has a new path to a dignified career. Local 429 is accepting applications for the highest skilled electricians and linemen and is providing the best training in Middle Tennessee. They are the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 429. Call them at 615-889-4429 or go online to IBEW429.org. IBEW Local 429, your proud seventh man since the beginning. Go Preds.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Do reward. Just desserts. Special day. Payoff. Just because. Whatever your reasons, it's time to visit the spa.
Mocara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Now offering outdoor yoga 9 a.m. every Saturday through September 2nd on the spa terrace. Book any treatment and get complimentary valet parking and access to the rooftop pool with incredible views of the Music City skyline. Mocara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Inner Zen. Outer beauty.
Hey home buyers, TJ Anderson here with More Great Homes. Located just west of Nashville in a tranquil setting of Kingston Springs Ranchettes neighborhood, 1617 Wildlife Trail offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a 2-car garage, and a 1-year builder warranty, all for under $450,000. Contact my team today at tjandersonhomes.com for more info. Want your home listing to be seen and heard by home buyers? Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why we are referred by clients so often. TJ Anderson Homes at Benchmark Realty, office number 615-432-2919.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, live and local from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. When you want the national
Hey. I got this. I'll take it from here.
Okay, go ahead. Dying to hear this.
We have the best national voices that you'll find anywhere.
Who was more deserving of being thrown from their game?
I'm odd, so I get the odd picks.
They have a new coaching staff.
It's not a bad scenario for them.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
And 94.9 The Fan.
Hey, this is Pekka Rinne. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
If he's not available, is it maybe time to take a look at Will?
It'll be one of those two guys if Ryan can't go. I don't know who that would be yet. We'll see, how they continue to practice. It'll be good to get them some work this week, maybe with some guys that they haven't necessarily worked with. They've been working on the show team during the season. So I'm excited to get both those guys some reps with some of our offensive guys and see how they handle that.
Breaking news, Mike Vrabel says if Ryan Tannehill can't play against the Falcons, it will either be Will Levis or Malik Willis. Who would have thought that? I mean, wow, talk about shocking, okay? So, everybody, I think, wants to see Levis. And I've been listening to all the shows, and I've been listening to what everybody has to say, and I've been listening to if Tannehill can't go against the Falcons, it should be Levis. And I think that's really more so because nobody wants to see Malik Willis, because we know what Malik Willis is. We don't know what Will Levis is. I think there's an impatience element to this and kind of a wanting to see what's behind door number 2 when it comes to Will Levis. But I do believe Will Levis is better than Malik Willis right now. I do believe that Will Levis is the quarterback of the future for this team. And if Will Levis is not the quarterback of the future for this team, then I think Vrabel's going to get fired. We had Trevor Maddich on earlier. He thinks that if Tim Kelly calls the games that he's been calling for Tannehill behind this offensive line, that they could ruin Will Levis. But here's my question to everybody out there. Let's say Tannehill's out for the Falcons game. This is a purely hypothetical question. But this is sports radio, and hypotheticals is kind of what we do. Let's say Tannehill's out for the Falcons game, which I think Tannehill is going to be out for the Falcons game. Ian, you think Tannehill's going to be out for the Falcons game?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Then the question is, who starts at quarterback between Levis and Willis? I'm not doing this college football thing where, 2 series for you and then 2 series for you. I'm starting a guy and the other guy's the backup. I believe Will Levis gives you the better chance to win against the Atlanta Falcons. And then that would put you at 3-4 with a Thursday nighter going to Pittsburgh, which is certainly going to be incredibly difficult to win, but is not impossible to win against the Steelers in Pittsburgh. So, 3-4, your season's not over. Tannehill may not even be able to play in that game. If Levis gives them the better chance to win, then I would say, okay, well, maybe you need to see him anyways. But I think about it from this standpoint. So if I own the team and Vrabel was accountable to me, where like Vrabel can't just brush off a question or he can't get all pissy pants or whatever it may be. Like Vrabel actually has to respectfully explain what he's doing because I own the team. And I were to say, Mike, who's playing quarterback this week? And he says Malik Willis. And I said, why Malik Willis? He says, because Levis is better than Willis. And again, this is a hypothetical. I don't know what Vrabel thinks. But Levis is better than Willis, but I don't think Levis is ready. And so I'm going to put Willis out there because I don't want to put Levis in the NFL before Levis is ready to do it. Would you be okay with that? And that's one of those ones where if Vrabel feels like it would hurt Will Levis's development, even if playing Will Levis would give my team a better chance to win on Sunday, I think the focus has to be on the greater good here. I think that we have to remember what the priority is. Just like Barry Trotz said when he was on with us talking about Tanner Mullendike, saying that Andrew Burnett wants him on the team now. But, I mean, we're thinking long-term here with this kid, so we're sending him down to the minors. I think you have to approach it that way if you're Vrabel and if you're a Titan fan, and Vrabel says, and again, I'm talking more like the owners, where you get mad and say, what? We have to watch Malik Willis play again. But if Vrabel just doesn't think that Levis is ready and that it could hurt his development to be out there before he's ready, then I'll put the lesser guy in. And I still think there's a lot of you out there that if you own the team, because what happens with a lot of these coaches and general managers is when there's big decisions, they go to the owner and they lay out the decision and then they tell you which decision they want to make. And then a good owner usually just goes ahead with whatever it is that their coach and their general manager says is the move that they think they should make. You guys think that A.J. Brown got traded and Amy Adams-Strunk didn't know it was coming. And I'm telling you, she knew. They talked to her about it ahead of time. So when they're talking about the team and they say, okay, well, Ryan's out, who's going to play quarterback? Well, we can go with Will. And we think Will's better than Malik, but we're worried that he's not ready. And we're worried that we don't have an offensive line that would be ready for him. And we're worried about what that would mean for him long term. So we want to go with Malik, even though we think Will's better because, and if I own the team, I'd say, okay, if you don't think that Levis is ready, go with Malik. If you think you can manage it for a game against the Falcons, play Levis. Because I've seen enough out of Malik. But if you think that it would hurt him, then I would say stay with Malik, even though you probably don't have much of a chance to win with Malik at quarterback. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. DeJuan has been waiting patiently and is up next here on the program. Thank you for waiting. What's up, DeJuan?
What's up, man? I would agree with what you're saying. I don't think you can't hurt Malik any worse. Like, I mean, it's not going to do him any justice sitting. And, we know what Malik's going to give you. Like, we got to pray for a touchdown. With Levis, I mean, we better off sitting, But my question to you, I had a question before you asked the question. Now, what if we lose a bunch of games, man? We go right there in the slim pickings for Caleb Williams. What would you do? If Levis never got a chance, would you still get Caleb? Or would you say you betting the house on Levis? If you're that same owner, what you doing?
So I think part of this, now I do think there's an element of this where, hey, that it'd be nice to see somebody play some games, right? Like it would be nice to see what they would look like out in the wild, putting a Levis out there, even though it doesn't really give you the idea. And if you start to lose a lot of games, then you're probably going to play Levis at the end of the season. If you think Levis is a surefire franchise guy, then you do it. Then you trade the pick for Caleb Williams. If you end up with the pick for Caleb Williams, which you're not going to get because Carolina, whose pick goes to Chicago, is 0-5 or 0-6 now or whatever it is. New England's terrible. Denver's terrible. Like, you're not going to be that bad. You may be picking 6th, but you're not going to be picking 1st or 2nd. But let's just, okay, argument's sake, let's just say you are. And you think Levis is the guy, you trade the pick. And then you end up with that haul that you got for Jared Goff times 3 because this is a generational quarterback. Now, if you think Levis has starting quarterback potential, but you have a pick that equals superstar quarterback potential, then you draft the superstar quarterback and you trade Levis. That's what you do. And I think it's that simple. I thought the Chicago Bears were crazy when they traded that pick. Now, they may end up with Caleb Williams because of it, but when they traded that pick with, for Justin Fields, because I'm not a Justin Fields guy. And I did like, I love Anthony Richardson. So I'm like, I'm not going with Anthony Richardson over the possibility, or not going with Justin Fields over the possibility of getting an Anthony Richardson. I want Anthony Richardson. So that's the move that I would have made. And then I would have signed like a Gardner Minshew, Andy Dalton, that kind of quarterback to start and put Anthony Richardson on the bench. But again, that's just me. So, but to answer your question, you're never going to be bad enough to be able to get Caleb Williams anyways, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. I thought I was going to hit some more phones today, but we've got Predators Game Day coming up next here on the program, which we will get to next. But I did promise we'd be giving something away, so something away it is that we're going to be giving. Be caller 5 right now at 615-737-1025, and you'll win a pair of tickets to see Patton Oswalt live at City Winery this Saturday for the 10 o'clock show. That's 615-737-1025. Good luck, Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
In any work environment, culture is the most important thing. And what makes up the culture? The people. Hey, this is General Manager Sean Fort with Cromwell Media. And this month, we have several celebrating their anniversary working with us. From our corporate office, Janice Russell is celebrating 33 years and Dorothy Black, 29. Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad, the duo that make up our morning show on 102.5 The Game, are celebrating 3 years. And Connor Newt, who works for 102.5 behind the scenes, is celebrating 1 year with us as well. If you're looking for a new career, reach out to us at together@cromwellmedia.com. Love what you do, love where you work.
We're losing too many of our friends, neighbors, and loved ones to fentanyl poisoning. Nearly 75% of overdose deaths in Nashville involve fentanyl, but you can save a life with training and naloxone. STARS, Nashville's regional overdose prevention specialists, are here to teach you how to recognize and respond to an overdose and how you can save a life. Call 615-393-6980 or visit starsnashville.org. This project is funded under a grant contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is happening at Genesis Diamonds. Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. For this event, you can choose from 5 years financing or get a free pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond earrings valued at $5,000. Imagine a luxury pre-owned ladies Rolex Datejust for just $199 a month, or a Sea Dweller or Submariner for just $299 a month. No waiting list, no games, just the watch you want at the great Genesis value price you deserve. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be offering top dollar for your Rolex, so you can buy, sell, or trade. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state. Get the timepiece of your dreams and take advantage of our special financing Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolex. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit while supplies last. See store for details.
Get Black Friday deals earlier than ever at Electronic Express. Get the gifts you want and save up to 40% throughout the entire store. Beat the crowds and save on hundreds of 4K TVs, appliances, computers, and more. Plus, get up to 36 months free financing on items like a Samsung 65-inch 4K TV, now only $549, or a stainless steel refrigerator, only $499. Black Friday deals are here at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
They combine hard-hitting journalism.
The Titans asked Kevin Byard to take a pay cut.
Strong-willed opinions.
There's hot takes and then there's like weird takes. Yeah. This is a weird take.
And sometimes some old man takes.
I'm excited about it. So do I gyrate embarrassingly?
To create the perfect morning show, they are Robbie and Rex Road. Mornings from 6 to 9. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. It's hockey night in Smashville.
Walk over to Yossi. Here's one-timer, he scores!
Bringing you the keys to victory and the latest storylines surrounding the Nashville Predators. This is Predators Game Day, brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Now on Stillman and Company.
Predators Game Day is presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, online at tjandersonhomes.com. TJ Anderson is my realtor. That's right. Get your house seen, heard, sold with TJ Anderson. And I'm telling you, and again, you know, I'm just saying this because I know TJ and I think TJ does great work. But I'll tell you, when you work with TJ Anderson, you're working with a good man, a straight shooter. He'll get you taken care of. Okay, Predators tonight against the Edmonton Oilers. That's right here at Bridgestone Arena tonight at 7 o'clock. Chase is getting ready for the pregame show right next to me. The Edmonton Oilers are 0-2-0, winless this season, and the Predators are 1-2-0, good for 2 points so far in the season. The Predators lost 3-2 at Boston the other night. Boston, of course, you know, the reigning best team in the history of regular season hockey. So we'll let that be. I have said that I think the Predators, by the way, are going to make the playoffs. Adam Vingan has called me a bobo for that take, but I feel very strongly about the Predators making the playoffs, and I'm not going to guarantee it yet. But I'm probably going to guarantee it soon. I'm just saying. We start with the coach's take. Andrew Burnett on playing Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, who I believe, Ian, have a combined 9,857 points over the last 6 years against the Predators?
Accurate.
Okay. Here's what Andrew Burnett said with his first test against those two as coach of the Preds.
Yeah, obviously you'd love to slow them down, but they're great players, and as you guys all know, they're as good as a combo that I can remember, at least in all my playing days and coaching days and watching hockey, maybe Gretzky, Curry, that kind of stuff. So you just can't stop him, you just try to contain him a little bit, and easy said than done.
And the Predators have never been able to do that. So if they're going to do it, they're going to do it tonight against McDavid and Draisaitl. It should be said against the Bruins on Saturday, the Predators were 0 of 7 in 13 minutes and 12 seconds of power play time. Ian, what's wrong with your power play?
Well, just got to work on finding some chemistry, I guess, with some new groups and some new, systems or new places. New seats on the bus. Got to find some chemistry.
I am comfortable with the power play because I am comfortable with the guy who's coaching the power play. And so I think they'll get that figured out. Matthias Ekholm makes his return tonight for the Predators as they get set to take on Edmonton. Meanwhile, get our final thoughts presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty here on the program tonight. The one thing I will say is that I believe they will be competitive, talking about the Predators, in every game that they play for the most part this season. The games where they're not competitive over the years have been the ones where the other team scores at an incredibly quick clip. And this game certainly qualifies as the potential for that. I think that if the Predators are going to be the kind of team that I think they will be in order to make the playoffs, then they're going to have to stop getting run out of the building against these kind of forwards. Other than that, I think we should all just enjoy getting to watch these guys play, specifically McDavid, because my goodness, is he a beast. That's going to do it for us. We are out of here today. Meanwhile, the Predators pregame show is coming up next. Chase is ready to rock and roll right here. Max is in for Pete today. He'll have the call with Jay Moore, 7 o'clock puck drop right here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We'll see you all tomorrow at 2.